Where we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another exquisite episode of the best darn show on the internet, the Oversharing Show. Welcome back, everybody.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah, I love it. My name is Brandon, and I am joined, as always, by Sharon, the lovely Sharon. How you doing today, Sharon?
Grazie, grazie.
Prego.
I am doing great.
Awesome.
Life is beautiful and amazing. And I've just really enjoyed kind of thinking about the quote that Brandon sent me beforehand, but not necessarily just the quote, but the actual kind of lecture or not lecture. It was like a question and answer session that it came from. And I didn't even finish reading or anything, but it was so good. So anyway, I'm just kind of on this like happy high of like thinking about all that. So
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny because I haven't really been on Instagram, but I went on, I don't even remember why for a minute, and I saw this. Shout out to You Are Another Me, but I made it our own picture, of course. But let's share that now. Here we go. All right, so
C'est
today's
fantastique.
quote is you have attached yourself to sickness, to health, to good, to bad, to happiness, to unhappiness. These are all concepts. You've attached yourself to person, place, or thing. You have forgotten that this is a dream.
Oh
You
my.
believe it's real. And because you believe it's real, you suffer accordingly.
Oh my God. Oh my God. There's just so much to say. So much to say. So much to say. So much to say. Isn't that a Dave Matthews song
I think so.
or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, um, I do you want to start
We're
or do
talking
you
about
want
it?
me to?
No, go ahead. Go, please. You go.
I feel like this is so synced with I've been reading, I was listening and reading the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Reese. And it's crazy. It's such a lovely book. Um it's just such a great reminder, and I don't know, maybe one day we can on a show where we're doing like a riff where we're just like chatting live or whatever, chit chatting, we can talk a little bit more about it. But it's just a really nice book that is a good reminder about all these things. And the main thing that made me think of it was the dream. You have forgotten that this is a dream. And I remember an old episode we did, Brandon. I don't even remember what it was. I don't know, but I feel like I was bringing up at that time because it was a very early on in our podcast um, series, I guess, where I was just pondering, like, what are dreams? And not that we've ever come to the realization of what they exactly are, but we can kind of, I feel like they're there as kind of a metaphor for life. And that just came out of my mouth right now. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but they are a way to comprehend this dream that we're living. And I love that what Don Miguel Reese says in that book is that we create the reality of this dream because we can, with our agreements, right, with the things that we have decided to do, which is, the first one was to be impeccable with your word. So um if you do that, and then the next one was to not take things personally, the next one was to not make assumptions, and the last one was to just always do your best. And if you can do all those things, then you can bring yourself to this reality that you're experiencing joy and bliss in this dream because you make it what it is. And so all this just is like, to me, it's like just really synchronistic. And I know Spoons has been reading it too, because I told her, oh, I've been, reading this, and I told her something, and she's like, yeah, me too. So I don't know. It's just really synchronistic, and I love it. So
I came across that book, The Four Agreements and the Fifth Agreement, years ago, and we've talked about it, like you said, and yeah, it really changed my life. And the four simple things, if you can remember them. And I always remember never take anything personally. And the be impeccable with your word, that's probably one of the ones that I forgot if I would have to. I was just thinking about it the other day. Actually, I remembered it. But I think that's something I just kind of ingrained in. I've always had that kind of sense of feeling bad when I lied or whatever. And then there was a time where I just didn't care, but I did it. And now I'm back to where like I don't even, I'm just telling the truth, like, or just not saying anything at all. So my cats are hilarious. But yeah, I think that we could talk about that sometime on a show for sure. I would love to talk about that book, you know,
yeah,
even do an episode about it, break down the agreements and some
we
of the
could. I was
points.
thinking that too. One day we could just take those four agreements and talk about them.
Yeah, and like you were saying about the dream, I like that as well because I feel like dreams could be, it's been said, whoa, kitty. It's been said that dreams are like our subconscious trying to kind of communicate with us. So I think that could be the case, through symbolism. Who knows? It's just kind of
Carl
telling us.
Jung talked about that so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, exactly. So, but I do like the thinking of this as a dream. Yeah, so it was very synchronistic. You're right.
Well, I wasn't even shuffling, but if there's more that you want to say, um, oops,
No, I think these
I'm
are a
looking
lot of
for them.
the things we kind of talk about just in a different way. So we'll probably reference back to the quote as we're breaking down the Tao, I'm sure. Sure it'll be synchronistic somehow. I haven't read them yet, so.
Well, and then there you go. So, okay, so attachments, right? You have attached yourself to, right? And what does the Buddha say? That, it's when you're attached to these things, that's what brings suffering, right? Am
Hmm.
I am I misquoting him? Because
No, that's attachment leads to suffering. Exactly.
yeah. So
My cats are attached to going out this door. Hang on, I can hear you though. Here. No,
so
you're
yeah,
100% right though.
this whole quote is just really, it's just really synced to all the things I've been just contemplating and reading about and stuff. So I just randomly decided to pull from the Luna Soul.
Oh, all
So
right.
I'm about to see what source has for us today. Let's see. The
All right, I'm gonna
Two
pin you.
of Discs. So I haven't pulled this one in a while. And it's like a little guy. It's kind of hard to see. Can you see any of that? So, all right, Brandon, you talk to us about this Two of Discs. I see it as kind of an
All
option,
right. Yeah,
like a choice to make, right?
I had you pinned, so I muted myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of them. But it's funny because I am going to just I have this book that you know about. I think you have the older one.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
so since that's the two one of the twos, right? That's the one that's on the cover of the Thoth deck, isn't it? Right? The Two of Pentacles. So I might as well read from the Thoth deck book about it, right? I mean, it's sitting right
Sure.
here. I had a
But
pile of books that I had was put away and I found again. I was
right
like,
off the
yes.
top, you can see how there's a yin yang. I don't know if you could see it, but one of these is a yin yang. And I'm not quite sure what this other thing is, but there's little butterflies flying around him.
Oh.
So,
All right. So discs.
oh, Spoon says the infinity just looks like pizza dough. Maybe
Yeah.
she should fix a snack.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read from this is Tarot Mirror of the Souls, everybody. So it's not the uh book that goes with the deck Sharon has, but it's the book that goes with the Crowley deck, and
I was
since
gonna pull from the Crowley deck, but something told me to pull from
yeah, all right.
this Luna Soul. So
Keywords: Jupiter in Capricorn, change, transformation.
we're in aren't we in Capricorn right now?
Yeah, and so this is what the card looks like. Everybody,
Oh wow.
it's the one that's on the cover of.
White and black. That's another
Actually,
yin and yang type of thing.
oh, I don't. Okay, it's in the other room. I thought I had the filth deck in here. So yeah, it's the exactly. I'll do it better so
I'll see if I can find it.
All right, so yeah, I'll read about it while Sharon looks. Jupiter in Capricorn, change, transformation. A huge snake, symbol for infinity. This signifies perpetual change. The snake encloses two discs, the Chinese yin yang, symbols of balance and harmony. They turn in opposite directions, representing internal and external change. The triangles, which are ancient alchemical symbols, are painted in the colors of four elements: red for fire, blue for water, gray for earth, and yellow for air. Ooh, that's interesting. The transformation touches all realms of being. Jupiter, the planet symbolizing luck and expansion, indicates that the change will bring luck and enrich life. The new will bring more stability and security, which is Capricorn in parentheses, with it. Change is always necessary when the old falls out of equilibrium. Changes shake us and wake us up. The crown on the snake's head is a symbol of wakefulness. The violet color, color of the warrior, shows that the new energies will be drawn from transformation. The only permanent thing is impermanence. The only certain thing is uncertainty. And it says your life is subject to a constant change, which allows you to grow, extending and expanding you, ultimately enriching you. Give yourself up to the transformation with trust. Questions: what internal or external changes are going on in your life? Where are you still clinging? Meditate on this statement.
Attachments.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Meditate on this statement. The only constant thing is change. Affirmation: every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Wow. Yeah, if you're changing, you could just look at it as you're getting better every day, right? I like it. And
And
it,
this
yeah,
one
like you said, it looks like and it's pizza dough in his hands on it.
and yin yangs.
Yeah,
They all have yin
exactly.
yangs inside.
And that's what the Tao is. And one of the verses that we talk about was written by Crowley. So,
And this has an Ouroboros um snake, but in the shape of an infinity.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's crazy, right? It's like
Wow.
extra. Ow. Yeah,
Wow.
so cool.
Jupiter and Capricorn. That's yeah. I've been just kind of off topic. I've been keeping up with some of Mario's latest little shorts and videos on Mario Garza from Symbolic Studies, and the stuff he's done on Capricorn's very interesting. I mean, they're always all interesting, but like the symbol, the old symbol, it's hard to see on this one. Um, you like there's so many different ways to draw the symbol that like it gets confusing, and he was trying to like show all the various ways and maybe kind of get some insight out of those. But anyway, that was interesting. So it's kind of a sync that we pulled something about Capricorn.
Oh, yeah. And we're in the season too. Crazy. All righty. So let's see. Let me just scroll these down. You want to just jump into the Dow, shall we? Or do you want to
Yeah, that's fine.
chat about anything? Yeah, that card. I mean, it's all pretty synchronistic, so it's not like we have to say much.
It's always a sync.
All right, so 69 and 70. Here we go. All right, let's share the screen. And if you're new to the Over Sharon show, welcome to the show. Oh, you know what? Hey, let's do this. Let's just say what's up with the chat really quick. Let's see.
Yeah. I was gonna actually say we
Yeah,
could do
see that, Sharon. You gotta keep me in line.
no, it's fine.
Hey, what's up, Michelle? What's going on? Awesome. Artist here. Oh, who's that? What's up? What's up, Spoons? I'm gonna be doing some more Brandon Bonanzas and coming out of my hermit shell. So if you're still there, Michelle, and you still want to do something, I'll find you. I'll hit you up on Telegram or whatever. So
I feel like you're quiet, is it me?
oh, is that better?
Yes.
I was talking softer.
What were you saying? Sorry.
I was in a conversational tone. In a conversational tone, I was just telling Michelle that I'm coming out of my. It seems to be I'm coming out of my hermit shell a little bit. So if she wants to record something because she was talking about
Oh,
doing
she
that,
said yes, please.
yeah, okay. So I will make that happen. And yeah, what's up, Spoons? Everybody check out Spoons and Joe show. We should put a link in here for that.
Yeah,
Actually,
I did it
Spoons
on last week's
in their episode. Okay, and the
yeah.
Spoons, if you want to put a link in here, go ahead because you're a wrench, so you could put a link in the in this chat. Check
Yeah.
it out. It was a really cool conversation. I love those two people.
Artist Seer said, I love telling this to everyone, makes us see. I'm not sure what he means by that, but he probably was talking about the four agreements because he said the fifth
Oh
is the
yeah,
best. I don't
yeah.
remember what the fifth was. I don't know if I ever read the fifth agreement.
Oh,
You
it.
remember what it was?
Let me look it up. It's been so long ago. I should know.
That's okay.
Let's see the fifth agreement. What is it though? They just want to show me the book. What?
I know.
Come on, Google, do it for me one time. Oh, here it is. What is agreement number 5? Be skeptical, but learn to listen. Oh yeah, that's right. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. So it's like you want to be in
Ooh.
the middle. You don't want to be too skeptical. I think that's what James True said. But yeah, see these ideas, they just get everybody, and it's great that they share them around. But here on the Oversharing Show, we give credit to where we hear these ideas.
Well, the people that are even listening to someone like him should also be skeptical, right? Because
Yeah,
everybody
no,
should
he's
be
got a lot of.
skeptical about everybody,
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
No, he's got some good
Um,
info. Everyone's got a little bit
I
of
mean,
piece to share.
I'm not, I guess we don't, and on our show, we've always kind of said that we're just sharing our own experiences. So it's not like we're claiming that we know something. So, and we're always just chatting, making conjectures, making, philosophical thoughts. And so I'm
Yeah,
preaching to myself. Basically, I'm just preaching to myself with
and
an
I
audience.
and I see it happen so much, and it's funny because you watch it's portrayed in different movies and shows where somebody gets famous or like a little bit of power or whatever it is, and it just goes right to their head. And it's not that so we're ready to be famous, is what we're saying, world. No, but yeah, so it happens with a lot. You might find someone who's a great content provider, and then once they get like a little bit of an audience, sometimes it just
Changes them.
what are you gonna do? But yeah, it
But
happens.
yeah,
Happens to the best of it.
it
Because
happens.
I feel like that's really the epitome of self work, is to just keep letting it go. That's why I think there's so few people who would deserve to be put on a pedestal. That's why we always say you shouldn't put anyone on a pedestal. But you can argue that certain people, maybe, yeah, we'll put them on a pedestal.
Like Jesus and Buddha. I mean, they were great examples, right? The avatars,
There you go.
Krishna.
Um,
But they were
but
also examples, right? They were just one, like Jesus and Buddha weren't exactly the same. They didn't talk about exactly the same thing in exactly the same way. They spoke of, I guess, what you would call truth, but in different ways, right? To different audiences because of the way they experienced and had their epiphanies and their journey.
and to
So
the culture and people that they were speaking to also
exactly.
totally affects the message. That's why I love Dune. I won't go too far into Dune, but because they highlight that so well with the different planets and the different cultures, and the Missionaria Protectiva, where the Bene Gesserit come in and just lay down
Oh my Lord.
certain it's amazing to me that like there's I don't know, I won't make judgments, okay, but it just highlights very well how religious beliefs in those systems work and keep people in kind of a mind prison. I mean, in Dune, it
Trapped.
works out.
Yes.
Well, it kind of works out, but Overall, it does. You got to read all the 8 books, and then you're like, yeah, it makes sense now. No, so anywho, I don't remember where I was going with that, but yeah.
So you read all the 8 books, including the last 2 that were kind of almost finished, but then the son and another guy took over, Brian and whoever the other guy was.
Yeah, Kevin J.
But
Anderson.
you did you read any of the other works that they did, like the full 22 or 23 books that they have, or anything like that?
I don't think all of them, but a bunch of them because there's a lot of backstory, and I
Yeah.
definitely like the way Frank writes better. Um,
Okay.
and but the thing is, the way I look at it, because like sarcastic, we were talking about this once. Shout out to Sark, and he was like, I just don't like the. He was saying he doesn't like the way those guys write, and I'm like, no, I get it. But the way I look at it is, it's more like I'm a historian, and like they just are telling a different story. That's how we look at Lord of the Rings. We've been watching the Lord of the Rings extended versions, and it's funny. I'm like, they're so short. They're 4 hours long, but I'm like, it's still so short because I'm used to,
The
one.
books.
Yeah, the chapter, just I was looking at the books because I've been listening again to I just been listening to all the like snatches here and there. But the Fellowship of the Ring, where they're sitting around in the movie deciding to do with what to do with the ring, that's the longest chapter in Fellowship of the Ring. In the audiobook, it's an hour and 35 minutes, just that chapter, because they go through the whole story. They tell the whole story of the ring from when it's made all the way up, like who had it's great. And anywho, so yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that again. I started talking about Lord of the Rings, and it's all over.
It's
But
all good.
what were we
No
talking?
worries. Shall we maybe start reading the Tao, I guess?
Yeah, let's do that whenever I get lost in. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's what I just to finish that quick point. I remember now. So when I watch the movies or listen to read the book or whatever, it's different. But the way I look at it now, instead of being like, oh, I'm like, I just think of it as two different historians, and they just are telling two different stories. Like the
From
book is
their
maybe,
perspective, from their point of view.
yeah, exactly.
And they're
And
going to
I
say use different words and say different things. And yeah, good
different
point.
characters, and
Good
yeah,
point.
exactly. But it's cool that the movie exists because it's like 20 years old and it still holds up. It's so beautiful, the
Mm-hmm.
landscapes and stuff. All right, let's get into the Dow. I ranted, now I'm good. So if you're new to the show, as I was saying before we started talking to the chat, we usually read 2 verses each episode, go through and break them down. And at first we go through and just read them, and we have 4 different versions. So I'm gonna read through. Like I said, we read through them and then we go back and break them down. So I'm gonna read through the Stephen Mitchell version from 1988, verse 69. The generals have a saying: rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. There is no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus, you destroy your 3 treasures and become an enemy yourself. When 2 great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield. Wow, yeah.
Hmm. And just remind me that the 3 treasures that he mentions were going back to verse 67, where he mentions the 3 treasures. So we can, like, if we need to like go back, we can do that.
Oh, yeah, good idea. So yeah. We can just
All
scroll
right.
real quick.
So Dwight Goddard, the function of the mysterious. A military expert has said, I do not dare put myself forward as a host, but always act as a guest. I hesitate to advance an inch, but am willing to withdraw a foot. This is advancing by not advancing. It is winning without arms. It is charging without hostility. It is seizing without weapons. There is no mistake greater than making light of an enemy. By making light of an enemy, we lose our treasure. Therefore, when well-matched armies come to conflict, The one who is conscious of his weakness conquers. Ooh, wow.
Right.
I'm loving that.
Yeah, I like this. I've always loved this verse. Always my whole life since I've heard it. Let's see
Mm.
here. Oh, I have this other mouse, everybody. Let me use not the trackpad. There we go. Stan Rosenthal's version from 1984. He entitles this The Use of the Mysterious Tao. Arguments may be won by waiting rather than making an aggressive move. Okay, so arguments may be won by waiting rather than making an aggressive move. By withdrawing rather than advancing, by moving without appearing to move, by not making a show of strength, but by conserving it well, by capturing without attacking, by being armed but with no weapons, great battles may be won.
Mm.
Is that a run-on sentence there, Stan? No, he used the
I
colon.
know. I know.
Do not
Well,
underestimate those you enjoin in battle,
mm.
for this can result in losing what is of greatest value. When a battle is enjoined, by remembering this, the weaker may still win.
Okay, and you asked if it's a run-on sentence, but the semicolons are they're kind of separating a different thought. So it's almost like the semicolons are almost like a period.
Gotcha.
But
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But you don't have to capitalize and all that fun stuff.
Spoon says, "Wow, this verse feels so timely." Thank you. Yes, it is
Yeah, it
very
really
timely.
does.
All right. Do you mind moving your little mouse a little tiny
Oh,
bit?
yeah, sure.
All right. Aleister Crowley from 1918 entitles this The Use of the Mysterious Way, which is almost exactly like Stan Rosenthal's, which is crazy. All right. A great strategist saith, I dare not take the offensive. I prefer the defensive. I dare not advance an inch. I prefer to retreat a foot. Place therefore the army where there is no army. Prepare for action where there is no engagement. Strike where there is no conflict. Advance against the enemy where the enemy is not. There is no error so great as to engage in battle without sufficient force. To do so is to risk losing the gentleness which is beyond price. Thus, when the lions actually engage, he who regretteth the necessity is the victor.
Oh,
Well, that's kind of esoteric at the end. I have to think about that.
yeah.
As usual.
As per usual, I'm gonna
As
make the light. I
per.
dim the main light. I'm just gonna make this my face a little brighter.
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
really love this verse. I feel like Spoon said she nailed it. It's timeless. Like, here we go, everybody. Hi.
Timely and timeless too,
Oh,
probably.
timely. Oh, I thought she said timeless. Yes, very timely. Even better. I should listen more. Haha. All right, yeah, so let's get into the breakdown. I wanted to break it down when we were reading it, but
I know. Me too. But here we are.
Here we go. All right, so we're gonna go back up to Stephen Mitchell version from 1988. The generals have a saying: rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. This reminds me of like martial arts, right? Judo or something. There's one where you use
Mm.
someone else's energy, and it seems to me like this is the same concept. You're using your opponent's energy, and I love that because you're staying in honor, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not advancing. You're like, listen, this is the line. You don't cross it, and we're good. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're not making statements
Yeah. Did you ever get to watch
or
Ender's
claims.
Game?
No, I did not yet.
Okay, so this wait and see makes me think of Ender's Game because that's what his intuition wanted to do. He wanted to wait and see. He was like, they were like, why hasn't he done anything? Why isn't he advanced? And you saw him there, like just looking to see what they were going to do first.
Wow,
So it's
it's
what
like
it made
they're
me think of.
very Taoist movie. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch it first and then decide what you think. But
Oh, okay. Well, so far, I mean, There's Taoist
But
point.
there's some
Well, I'm sure
things
it's
that
Hollywood, so they
made
give
me
their own
think
little.
of.
But that's why it's up to discerning folks like us to decide what to take from a movie like that, and what to leave behind, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I guess I don't have. Okay, let's get back into this. This is a great verse. Oops. Yeah, so uh rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat. Yeah, so that, like I said, it's just even so you take this and you're just using it in your life, obviously. Like, so a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not going to be in a battle or be a general, but yeah, you can use it as a guide or as some
Metaphor.
yeah, some metaphor. Thank you, Sharon. There is no greater misfortune than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil.
Oh
And this
my
is,
God. Making assumptions. The third agreement.
yeah.
Don't make assumptions.
And, this goes along with what we talk about all the time with self defense, where if you ever need to use self defense, you try to keep the compassion about it and understanding, because
Mm.
you're not like, oh, this person's just evil. Because then could it be that you're kind of on their level now and you're vibrating at their level, and then you're going to get infected with some kind of demon or escapism or something that if you engage in it, you're going to like it. So I think it's better to not creep down that path and to just have compassion. And it says it right here.
Do you think the Bhagavad Gita goes into that with compassion? Because I only read it once, so I don't remember the detail.
It does, yeah. It talks about that. It talks about compassion as one side of it, but the other side of it, it talks about really is that it's like, you don't you're not the instrument of, you might be, you're just my puppet, Arjuna. Like, you might be slaying these people, but I'm God, and I'm like, you're just my puppet, basically. So the way it is, it's in it, to say it that way, people are gonna be like, oh, so there's no
Yeah.
free will, it's all determinism.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
it's more like it's just unfolding, and you're a
Yeah.
witness to that unfolding, and then you could decide how you feel inside about it. And then as you decide how you feel inside about it, are you a victim or are you a victor, or how do you feel? Then your actions start to naturally just go the way that they should to line up with your dharma or whatever. But I think we're always on our path. Just want to say that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's more like that. I'm trying to think though. As we go on, I'll ponder it further in the back of my
Yeah. No
brain.
worries.
Yeah, but he definitely talks a lot about compassion. So it's like a common theme, like we talk about all the time in all these religious works or holy works, if you will. Thus you destroy your three treasures and become an enemy yourself.
Mm.
Or you can
What?
even say you become an enemy to yourself,
Mm. Yeah. And
and
what are
just
those three treasures? If we look at verse 67
let's
to
do it. Everyone close
remind
your eyes so you
us.
don't get sick. Okay. Here it is. These three are your greatest treasures, simple in action and thoughts. Your return. Oh, no, here it is. Sorry.
Yeah. Simplicity, patience,
Simplicity,
compassion.
patience, compassion.
That's
There it
right.
is. In
Thus
that,
you destroy your three treasures, those the simplicity, the
yeah.
patience, and the compassion, and become an enemy yourself.
Yeah, because those are the three things that keep you from not. There it is.
Yes.
And then he wraps it up really eloquently. When two great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield. And this word yield is really important because a lot of people think that it means like give up or surrender. But, let's look up the definition of yield exactly so we could put it into better terms here and know what we mean exactly by that. Because, people don't know how to use a yield sign. That's pretty clear if you drive at all. So here it is, yield. To produce or provide. Oh, that's a
Oh,
yield,
to
like
yield something to
agricultural. Yes,
someone.
okay. To give way to arguments, demands, or pressure. Oh, okay. That's one interesting one. Let me check another definition here. I like to look at that. Oh, here we go. To give way. There it is. An amount or to give way. So that's like the simplest definition is to give way. And I like that definition better because you're not
Mhm.
saying that you're giving up, but you're giving away. You're basically letting your enemy or whoever opposes you think that they have the upper hand and that they're in control. And
So like
really,
you step back and you're just like, go on. I'm giving you safe passage.
yeah, exactly. And another way to illustrate this is I mean, I'm sure plenty of armies have used this tactic, but the Mongolians are famous for this. The horse archers of the Mongol horde, the Tartars, if you will, they would pretend that they were getting beat. They'd like fight someone and then pretend they'd give a fake retreat, and people would just chase, and they would run on their horses just enough so the people were behind them and just tire them out, and then they turn around and kill them. So, or they'd have people waiting, so that's really, it's like that art of war stuff. Why should you be so quick to attack? There's no
Mm.
reason. It's more about a defensive position. And
Mhm.
yeah, so all right, moving right along. You want to start
Yeah.
thinking?
I was just thinking about like
Oh yeah, unless you have
like
something to
being
say.
on the defensive too. Cuz I would say there's like a middle path too.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like
it
when
is.
you're always being defensive too. You're like, don't take things personally.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and you don't want to have a scary defensive posture because then it's like
It's like a neutral defensive.
yeah,
Yeah, if there's a way to describe that or say that.
like Metallica said in one of their songs, like to secure peace is to prepare for war. Like we're building all these nukes for peace, everyone. We're building up all these arms to maintain the peace. It's that kind of. So yeah, you're right. It's that middle way. So thank you for that clarification.
Oh yeah, no, it made me think of that.
Boop. Okay.
All right, Dwight Goddard. The function of the mysterious. A military expert has said, I do not dare put myself forward as a host, but always act as a guest. I like that imagery. It's when you're a guest, you yield, right? You're just like, whatever you say, host, like I'm at your place. And, if you, whatever you want to do here, like if you're going to try to fight, okay, fine, then that's what we'll do. But, if you want peace, then I'm here for it.
Exactly. I love it. It's like your move.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's if you go like say you go into the interaction, well, we'll use the analogy of war, and you're just like, all right, we just want peace. We want to just keep this peaceful, and we want if you come in too much like that, then people are going to think you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you're just saying whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
we can handle it. You're gonna fight, we're gonna
It's
fight.
up to you. Yeah. You pick.
You pick.
And
So then it's all on
that's
you.
you yielding.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's on their head. It's their karma. They accrue all that karma if they start the battle, basically, kind of
That
thing.
makes sense. Yeah.
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 All right. Let's get back to the Sharon.
I hesitate to advance an inch, but I'm willing to withdraw a foot. This is advancing by not advancing. So basically, you're doing something better by not advancing. That's what he means by this is advancing by not advancing, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the better thing. So you're advancing yourself spiritually, could it be,
It could
by
have been.
not advancing like to war, basically,
Yep.
or something like that.
It's the paradox.
Yeah,
Wei Wu Wei.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. It's another way to illustrate what the Wei Wu Wei.
Yeah. It is winning without arms. It is charging without hostility. Right. It is seizing without weapons. The charging without hostility, that's like what we've always talked about on the show. If you have arms, for example, not these physical arms, but you know what I mean. And someone is going to attack you or going to try to hurt you, you have all the right to defend yourself. But the thing is, are you doing it in love without hostility? For love of uh, yourself and the other person too. Um, and that's what Brandon always says about being a heathen, not a hippie.
Yeah, exactly. I like
All
that
right.
very much.
So the next part is, oh, wait, did we do the whole thing?
Yeah, we already read through.
Oh,
Yep.
we did. Oh, okay.
No, it's all right. I do that.
There is no mistake greater than making light of an enemy. Ooh. By
So true.
making light of an enemy, we lose our treasure. Therefore, when well-matched armies come to conflict, the one who is conscious of his weakness conquers.
Oh, I like that so much better to
Yeah.
put it.
What are your
Because it's
thoughts on
like,
that?
let me stop the share here. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. Um, because they're honest with themselves. They know their flaws, they know their weaknesses, and they're not trying to make up for them. Sometimes an army or person has a weakness, right? Whatever it is that they perceive as being a weakness amongst themselves, and they will try to overcompensate for it. You know, like a giant lifted truck, and there's a little guy jumps out of it, kind of thing, like or whatever. I'm tall, so that's my point of view. But it's that kind of thing. So, in regards to this, um, it's like you want to be honest, obviously, with yourself, because then you could know who you're up against, and it's not all about like talk and like and I'm trying to think about how to put these into better words, because I think what happens is if an army gets beat, and of course this is another analogy which is great, so we can even think about this in the frame of self work, but if you underestimate something in your past, or if you underestimate the hold that something has over you, like escapism or a person or something like that, then it's possible that you just be like blinded to it, right? It's like you'll end up
Entrapped by
losing
it.
yourself, yeah, or entrapped by it. Yeah, that's a good word. And you'll be just
In
like
a cycle, like a self propagating, what is it called? A loop.
a
We'll just
loop.
call
Yes, I was trying
um
to think of what you were saying too. Yes, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah, yeah.
Almost. It's 4:44 and 30 seconds.
Nice.
You're in East Coast.
33 seconds now.
But they
Um,
art of war, that's like a big art of war thing too. You never want to underestimate anyone. And if you ever think about even in like sports or whatever, where there was an underdog that won, that's really what happened. It's the other guys were doing so well, guys or
underestimating.
gals, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, we're just gonna kill them," and the other
Yeah.
people just wanted it more.
Yeah. Um, it also made me kind of think of when like you have let's say two people are I thought of it because we've been watching Dune Prophecy.
Oh,
And then the sword master teaching the student, right? So um but like when one of them gets angry or one of is in a bad mood or an angry mood, like that makes them more weak. So because they're not paying attention, they're distracted by their own anger and their own aggression, that they're not paying attention to what someone might do. So that's another thing too.
the sword masters of Ganaz. That's the
Uh,
island where they train them. I know. I just know too much about
oh,
Dune, but you're
okay.
exactly right though, because of the anger. Some people are like, oh, channel the anger and all that stuff, which, yeah, that's fine. But if you want to be in a true state of balance and meet your enemy exactly where they are, it's better for you to be like a blank slate to kind of mirror in a way. This way you can anticipate instead of acting out of anger because it's gonna, you're gonna just want revenge. You're just gonna want to hit them
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna, yeah, or whatever it is. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Um, There was another movie that we watch, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Asian guy, and he's doing
Jackie Chan.
no, it's oh, Ip Man.
Who's that?
IPMAN. Did you ever watch that movie?
I don't think so.
You probably would in like you probably would like that movie. Ip Man. IPMAN. But yeah, when he's because the way he practices whatever this I forgot what uh martial art he's practicing, but the way he does it different than everyone else. And so because he does it like the Tao, like he does it basically like the Tao.
He's
So
embodying.
he does it only to defend, right? He doesn't do it to provoke or to anger, or he doesn't let himself get angry in it. He does it simply to block, to, protect himself, right? And if he needs to knock someone over in order to do that, he does it, but he's not trying to hurt or kill somebody. So um, the people seeing that he does it this way, the ones that want to fight him and hurt him and kill him get very angry. And you see them get angry as he's beating the heck out of them, you know, like
Yeah,
he's just defensively blocking and doing all his thing. And you see them get angrier and angrier and angrier. And then eventually they lose because they lost it. They
exactly.
lost their
Same.
head in
Like
it.
we were talking about with the Mongol horse archers, they're pissed, they're chasing, they're like, we're gonna kill them, and then like
Yeah.
10 miles later, like, and then they're just all spent, and they turn around. It's the same thing. You tire them out, and then if
Mhm.
you're not working through anger or fighting through anger, then you're not going to tire yourself out too. Because that's another thing. Anger and adrenaline and all that stuff. It's great, but it's short. It's like a burst. Once you expend that energy, especially with adrenaline, you could
Mm.
have a crash after that. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
Well, that's great. I think we finished that verse or with those two versions, I should say.
All right. Stan Rosenthal from 1984, The Use of the Mysterious Tao. Arguments may be won by waiting rather than making an aggressive move. So, same kind of thing, but now he's talking about arguments instead of war, which makes sense because Stan
Mm-hmm.
Rosenthal is very wordy,
Practical.
verbose, and air. He reminds us of the air quality of the elements if we had to choose one for him out of the four.
And I
So
think he tries to make it more practical, right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Like in a I think his
Like
auto
in the day-to-day thing. This is
yeah,
how you would experience this. Go ahead.
exactly, because the arguments, right? Every people probably have arguments every day, or
But they're not always going to war. Not everybody goes to war.
yeah, exactly.
But do they war with their families, with their spouses, with their children, with their brothers and their sisters and their moms and their dads? Yeah,
Every day.
happens to the best of us.
Or a day, exactly.
I mean, all of us, I should say.
Todos los. Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, you're right, because I like how he uses those terms instead of war. Or by withdrawing rather than advancing, by moving without appearing to move, by not making a show of strength, but by conserving it well, by capturing without attacking. So right now he's just listing a bunch of different,
Oh my God.
right, everything that works, how you win a battle. By being armed but with no weapons, great battles may be won.
Oh
But it's
my
also all
God.
talking about the same. It's like a bunch of different metaphors pointing at the same thing.
Yeah. And you know what he's basically saying? Shut the hell up.
Oh yeah.
Right? By
Yeah.
withdrawing. Because what
Yeah.
happens when
Withdraw
someone
your
starts
argument.
yelling at you? What is your first thing you want to do? Is you want to yell back. You want to say, no, it's this way. It's like this. You want to be defensive in that way, right? But what do you do? What can they do when you don't even open your mouth? When you don't engage? What can happen? There's no argument. Who
Exactly.
wins?
Exactly. And that's how
Wow.
you can win without even going to battle,
Mm.
also. But yeah, I mean, I love the way you saw that. It's so true. With the whole talking thing and stuff. All right.
Especially if you know that's where it's going, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You should try to diffuse the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on common ground, all that stuff. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. If someone's already ready to, is them fighting words, you know? If somebody's already ready and you can sense it, you can tell, then just, you're going to just not engage. Just don't engage because it's not going to go anywhere fruitful.
Exactly.
I mean, I preach to myself.
It
I
just
know
feeds the
this.
ego. It's like ego feeding. You're
Yes.
just like, I want to
Yes.
be right.
I know this from experience. Yes.
Yeah,
So
me
what
too.
lately I'm like, would I rather be right or would I rather be happy?
Yes.
Content.
Is it worth it to disturb the peace? If there's already
Yeah.
peace there.
Exactly. All right.
Disturber of the peace. That's Gandalf. He's been labeled a disturber of the peace by the
Oh
hobbits.
my gosh. Yeah. So the next part says, do not underestimate those you enjoin in battle, for this can result in losing what is of greatest value. When a battle is enjoined, by remembering this, the weaker may still win. Hmm.
I like it because he says may still win. That's
Yeah.
much better than are going to win because you never know what's going to happen in a battle. But if you're talking about self work and that battle within, yeah, then you're going to win it.
Yeah. Um, well, you can, and again, like I like to look at things. I see things from both angles, right? Because that's
Yeah.
just the Libra in me.
Sure.
But I am reading this and I'm seeing um when a battle, okay, like don't underestimate those you enjoy in battle, for this can result in losing. Okay, so basically don't underestimate that person that's in the argument, that's trying to have this argument with you, right? Just for the example that we had above. Um, by remembering this, the weaker may still win. Now, could it be that they're saying the weaker is literally the one that is the weakest? Or are they saying the one that, quote, appears to be weaker, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because let's just say you're saying the other guy's the weaker one because he's the one who's angry and he's not recognizing his whatever's, right? Him or her. And but by the fact that he's engaging you and you enjoin and you're sitting there having this argument, he wins because you allowed it to go there. But it could also be
Yeah.
that it could also be just saying that you're in this quote argument, right? But you may appear to be weaker because you're not responding to him and therefore you win.
Exactly. And even and then the traditional way would be like probably like a weaker enemy. But I like the way you broke it down. It's more esoteric that way.
And more people might, think, oh, he won because he yelled the crap out of that person and she didn't fight back, or whatever, right? So he won. Like it's basically it's perception. It's always perspective and the way things are perceived and who's perceiving it. So,
Exactly. And most times when people are yelling like that, they're just trying to destroy. I was saying something about this to Sharon earlier in a message. If somebody has a good message and it can't be refuted, people will just try to
mhm.
destroy the messenger,
Yeah,
try to discredit that person.
discredit them.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get
Indeed. Am I next, Aleister Crowley?
Yes. Oh, you kind of read the end of that, but that's all right.
Oh, sorry. Did I do that?
I just realized it. Yeah. I was just going with it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I think I do it sometimes. We all do it.
I'm so distracted. Okay. Um, I'm just excited. Aleister Crowley, The Use of the Mysterious Way. You want to read the bottom one on this one? I'm just
Sure.
kidding. Okay. A great strategist saith. Oh, sorry. Let me read it like traditional modern English here. A great strategist says, I dare not take the offensive. I prefer the defensive. I dare not advance an inch. I prefer to retreat a foot. That's basically saying the same kind of stuff we saw in the previous verses. Place therefore the army where there is no army. Prepare for action where there is no engagement. Strike where there is no conflict. Advance against the enemy where the enemy is not. Now, see, this is way more esoteric, way more like paradoxical. So I'm gonna ask you to help me think about this.
I would say here where he talks about, well, I dare not take the offensive. I prefer the defensive. So that makes sense in line. It goes in line with what we were talking about and the whole inch thing. But the end there, place there for the army where there is no army. So he's trying to tell you to do what people, do the unexpected. What are they not going to expect you to do? Prepare for action where there is no engagement. So most people would think we're going to fight this battle here, so we'll get ready. And they're getting ready in a different spot and preparing for battle and action there. Strike where there is no conflict. So like hit your enemy where they're not ready to be hit. So all this stuff just kind of reminds me of do the unexpected. And if you think about the Tao and the unexpected or the path of that most people don't go, the less traveled path is this way of doing things kind of opposite of what society would do, I guess you could say. And that's something we can use kind of in our time frame. So if you're not so easily put into despair and not so easily feel like a victim, you're going to look and stand out and be different than other people. It's just going to be a whole different thing. So
The way I'm thinking about it after you talked, so that gave me some pause and time to think about this. It makes me think of the argument, right? Again, because that's the typical thing that we experience nowadays. So maybe if we look at placing the army where there is no army, actually I'll start with strike where there is no conflict. It makes me think of, how when someone's already riled up, someone's already not in a good mood, and like you don't definitely want to bring up a topic with them at that point. Let's say there's something that you do need to say or you do want to say, or there's something to be said about that topic. That's not the time to do it, right?
yeah, like say, someone is talking about one way or another because it didn't the inauguration
It's
happen. Right, we have a like new president. So say one way or another, you show up some way where and somebody has an opposite opinion than you about what's going on, and they're freaking out and they're talking lies, and you're like, that's not even true. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna say, oh, or are you just gonna be like, hey, let's talk about fucking the Giants or weather or what about the Oversharon show? Let's watch the Oversharon show, right? I love it.
Yeah, strike where there is no conflict. So talk about the things that actually you have in common, that things that um aren't polarizing, that don't bring conflict, right?
Stay away from the hot button topics.
Right.
Love it.
And so that's where I think of the place, the army where there is no army. Or actually, that makes me think of like preparing yourself in other ways, maybe. Like if
Yeah,
you,
right. Instead of studying up on all the truths or lies or whatever side about the new president, why don't you go read a book about Dune and then or whatever it is, and then you could talk to people about something else other than politics and religion. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah, I love it. See, you don't need me. No. No, I like it because I think what you said is I had some of that in my mind too. I just didn't express it exactly how you did. So you kind of defined it more or refined it. It's great though. It's true.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Because it
So,
doesn't like you said, it's paradoxical. It doesn't seem to
yeah.
make sense. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't, but we can always try to find a way for it to bring meaning and clarity. And so that's what I like about these four different ones, because there's always one that brings something to mind that's like, oh, okay, now we can use this metaphor as a way to explain what this whole verse means. And this argument from Stan Rosenthal really like made it work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how they all ended up being different elements and they work together so well and help to highlight each other so well. And I think that's
Mhm.
another lesson, right? Because if you think of fire and water, people will say that they're opposites. Oh, fire and water, they're opposites. You want to get them together. But fire just accentuates what water is, and water just, complements what fire is. It's kind of that same thing. All right.
Do you want to read that bottom part since I read your bottom
Sure.
section?
There is no error. There is no error so great as to engage in battle without sufficient force. To do so, is to risk losing the gentleness which is beyond price. And yeah, I think that's really true. That's like the underestimating the enemy thing. You kind of just jump into it before you're really ready to do what it is.
Mm.
And especially if it's like an argument or battle, because you're going to underestimate your enemy. You're going to be like, I've
Mm.
been reading on on everything on Trump. I know all the angles of this, and you're gonna. And the thing is, this is also it's the wrong kind of battle. Like, so you are arming yourself for a battle of facts, say, or it's just an example, right? And say we're
Oh
gonna
my God. I
right.
love this.
So you have all these facts, and you're like, oh, of course I'm right, because look, this is because I'm a thinker, I'm an INTP, and you bring them to somebody, and the facts don't really matter because this other person might be more focused on how this thing makes them feel. So your
Mm.
facts aren't
They're
making them
feelers, not
feel good.
thinkers.
Yeah. Or even if they are a thinker, they could be, because this happens to me too. You have a blind spot with something and you react when somebody says something about it. So it's the same kind of thing, but it's a feeling thing, right? So that's what happens, especially when you're studying these things. A lot of times you have this intellectual thing. So you think you know these arguments inside and out, but what you don't realize is you can't ever really change a person's mind. They have to get their own inner knowing. They have to experience it for themselves, just
Mm-hmm.
like the Matrix. That's why Morpheus says to Neo, unfortunately, nobody could be told about the Matrix. You must experience it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not worth
Yeah.
our.
So going into battle unprepared, not a good idea.
You're not prepared for those emotions and those feelings and what's going to happen because of it. And then your own emotions, how you're going to react to their reaction. And it's just going to be ugly. So just stick to talking about the oversharing show. It's a safe topic.
I don't know about that.
No. Yeah. Well, the thing is, they just get bored. You could just talk about how.
Yeah.
Or
They either get polarized or they get bored.
yeah. Well, yeah. Polarization happens.
Um,
So we were at to do so. All right. So it's to risk losing the gentleness, which is beyond price. So that's the same thing as the gentleness could be looked at as those three treasures that we talked about before.
losing what is of greatest value, as Stan Rosenthal says.
Mm-hmm.
And what would that be? Peace?
Yeah. Well, the inner peace
Mm-hmm.
also, that's part of it. Your own inner balance.
Yeah.
Because without it, you
You
can't
get
have
thrown
compassion
off.
in
Yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
Because
Oh my God.
when you're
I'm
in
I'm
balance,
preaching to myself right
you're literally
now.
leaning toward your ego. And we all have an ego. I have one too, and it's fucking great. It's the best ego. So fuck you guys. No. So I obviously am preaching to the choir,
The
but that's
best
what
ego in
happens.
the universe.
You just lean too far and you're just like me, but what about my opinion and how I feel and what about what I want? So that's
Oh, me.
that's what happens, right? And then you lose sight of the argument and just derail, so or whatever.
Yeah. So that last sentence. You didn't read that yet.
Mm-mm. Thus, when the lines actually engage, he who regretteth the necessity is the victor.
I that's very, very deep and esoteric for me right now.
Okay, so thus when the lines actually engage, so when they say basically when battle is enjoined, he who regretteth the necessity. So what do they mean by regretteth the necessity?
The necessity for what? To win? Or
Maybe the necessity to actually have battle.
mm,
Like the person who doesn't want to fight, who's kind of like
in the end,
back.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
who
regret that I got into this.
there's something
Aha.
else I had to. Let's see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, so when he says the necessity, okay, so if there's this necessity, people go to war because they believe it's necessary, right? So, oh, here
Mm.
I'm highlighting, but I'm not even.
Mhm.
Da, 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 da. All right. He who regretteth the necessity is the victor. So when a battle is engaged, it's because there's a reason necessary. Something made it necessary, right? So the person who regrets this necessity. So I feel like that means maybe not even regret as because it's old English. We could look up the word, the meaning of regret. But I think that it doesn't mean like after, but the person who like didn't think it was necessary to battle, like they weren't as far on that line. So they were more of the one that was yielding, kind of.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And it's like I feel when I've allowed an argument to
You're
go,
like, why did I
I'm
fuck?
just like, why did I do that? Why do I keep doing that? Why don't I just shut the F up and just not say a
And
word?
by the same token, if you were just hanging out and someone starts an argument with you, you're probably gonna win it. And when he says win the battle, he doesn't mean like win the argument by um
By proving
by
something.
proving it or changing the other person's mind. He means basically, I think it's by not giving them your energy, not letting them suck and be an energy vampire, even if they
Exactly.
don't realize they're doing it. So you just diffuse the situation and you win because you keep your energy and they don't.
Hmm. That's the true definition of winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can't, change people's minds all the time sometimes. What are you going to do? It's not, I don't think that's I think our jobs are to change our own minds. That's we're here to
Yes.
change our own minds
I'm
about
here to
our hard,
preach to myself.
our the facts that we think we know so well.
I want to do at some point, I don't know if this is a wise thing to do or not, but I want to do an episode where we just chit chat about um what is truth, you know? Just like Pontius Pilate asked Jesus, what is truth? Like I know there's like a spiritual, definitely a spiritual side
Yeah.
to it, and like a, oh, these are the facts, you know what I mean? There's like a materialistic kind of side and like a spiritual side to it all. But I think it would be like fun and engaging to philosophize about what it means.
Yeah, we can entitle it like, is there such thing as truth? Really
Or
can't.
just what is truth? Pontius Pilate.
Mm.
Quote, Pontius Pilate. Just kidding.
Pontius Pilate. He was the first pilot because there weren't even planes yet. Hey, where's Zeke at? Hey. I got that arm thing, and I think I was showing you last week a little bit. Now all I do, and it's funny, Elizabeth was using it the other day, and she was like petting, trying to pet my beard. It was so funny. It's hilarious. She's like, "This is
Mm.
fun." I'm like, "Yeah, you should get one too." I'm like, "They are." Anyway,
Puppet masters.
on the string. It's just it's a great way to illustrate another point of view or whatever it is. And really, what I see puppet as is it's just another personality that's peeking out, right? So instead of me flipping, I could just remain an INTP, and then I could, Zeke can be the whatever
You can be the shadow,
INTJ.
the ENTJ. Zeke can be
ENTJ,
your
yeah,
shadow.
yeah, exactly. So, all right. back to work. I think did we finish up this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
70.
70. All right, everybody. Verse 77.
We're 11 verses away from the last verse.
11 verses, verse 70, which is a 7, which is what I meant. I didn't mean 77. But just to clear it up for everyone. Wow, this is a nice little quick one by Stephen Mitchell from 1988. I like this, the beginning. Oh, we'll wait until I break it down. Okay. My teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice, yet your intellect will never grasp them. And if you try to practice them, you'll fail. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. I'll just say quickly, I like his my teachings are easy, and then it's just a short verse. So it's like,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's basically doesn't have to say much. And Dwight Goddard says, the difficulty of understanding. My words are very easy to understand and very easy to put into practice. Yet in all the world, no one appears to understand them or to practice them. I freaking feel like I say that about Jesus all the time. I'm like, nobody really listens to what Jesus actually says. Like no one, they're like, oh, I'm Christian and this, that, and Jesus this. And I'm like, did you really hear what he said? Do you really understand what he said?
It's like this could be a lyric. Jesus is drowned out by his own voice. Like Jesus is drowned out by his own voice repeated in others' throats or something like that. Like there's a verse or lyric there. Like that's what it is. It's other people saying they think they. All right. It's cool though, man. It's really cool.
It's all good.
Yeah, it is. Because honestly, it's better. My true opinion is like it's better for somebody to have that. And there's other belief systems that are out there that are way worse. I'll just say that.
Oh,
It's better than
absolutely.
nihilism, right? It's better than, so that's why
Absolutely.
we like
Yeah.
to talk about what we're thankful here and we like to not judge. So it's better than being a solipsistic person.
It's funny that you say that because I was getting ready today and I was thinking to myself, the whole concept of, that one guy that we used to listen to sometimes here and there would say, like, everything's gonna, just FYI, guys, everything is going to hard right. Like, everybody's just gonna go hard right pretty soon,
A
right?
couple people we used to listen to or still do
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
said that. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead, though.
I mean, I don't even remember who the other one was. Who's the other one?
One starts with a B and a B, and the other one's an A. Uh, Archaics.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, really?
Were you thinking about Archaics, or were you thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah. I was thinking about archaics. Who's the other one?
Owen? Owen Benjamin
Oh, okay,
a lot too.
okay.
Yeah, he talk about like a hard kind of turn to the right. It's
Oh, okay.
other people would too, because and it really is just, if you know that everything's a pendulum, you see that since Pluto was in what, Capricorn, right? For 14 years, we've had, or 16 years, 2008 to 2024, we've had this crazy like leftward swing. So it's only right to think that we would swing back to the right, because look at the 80s. It was Reagan for 8 years and then Bush for 4 more. So we had 12 years of Republicans.
So the pendulum is swinging to the right. So lots of people are like, I saw another article the other day that's said something about like all these young men are flooding into like these Eastern Orthodox, Christian Orthodox churches or whatever, which is fine. So anyway, that just
And is
reminds me of
that
what
Russian? Is that what that is it?
I don't know, because there's multiple different types of Orthodox. So I don't know which one's which. So there's Greek and there's like something
uh
else and I don't
okay.
know. So, but anyway, in the shower, I was thinking to myself, is it better that because I hear this opinion of like, well, it's better that, that would be a better place for them to be, or a better And I like to sometimes be the devil's advocate too, So I'm just like,
Sometimes
is it really? It just is. You know what I mean? Some people are we're just in that, how should I say? We're in a time frame. We're in a special place in time and space where the pendulum is swinging that way. And that's where it's going. And it is what it is. So, but when it swings the other way, it doesn't mean it's like evil or bad or like it just is. Those people are experiencing what they need to experience on that, negative polarization, right? The two ends of the spectrum, because you need both, right? You don't
You
know
do.
what this
Yeah.
is if you don't know what this is. You need one, helps you identify the other. I think that's verse 2 of the Tao, basically, is what that's saying.
Yeah, they define each other.
One helps define the other. One end of the spectrum helps define the other end. So in my, devil's advocate way, I was going, yeah, it would be better. And then I was like, but is it? Like, it just is. It just is what it is.
It's the next level to this lovely game that we're playing. Now it's, level 3, fucking it's all Republicans and everyone loves Jesus again. Because last time everyone hated Jesus, it's so funny. But it's like, why don't
Yeah.
we just not love or hate? Well, you can have love, obviously, but okay, how about this? Before he was in the pit, and now he's gonna be put up on the pedestal.
Yeah.
So it's like just no, you don't have to do either of those things. But it's cool. Like
Do the self work. How about that?
yeah.
Um, I was gonna
The
say something else, but I can't remember. Go ahead.
the facts are gonna change. That's it. Just
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was gonna say. Something about it's just an egregore.
yeah, yeah.
They're just, when you are not aware and haven't done the self work, you're going to be pulled into those egregores. You're going to be pulled into whatever this collective consciousness is doing, because you're not aware. You're not seeing through all the veil, the illusion, right?
And I knew it was going to come up again, so we'll do it. Boom. Here we go. Look, the quote from the beginning, right?
Oh, there you
It's
go.
about the attachments, like you were saying, the egregore, but it's the same thing. You have attached yourself to this
Mm-hmm.
point of view. So
Mm-hmm.
you have a,
It was like good or bad. It's no, it's evil, it's good, it's this, it's that, right? It's an
and that's
attachment.
all internal. You're doing that
Mm-hmm.
all inside yourself, and you're living in kind of a hell, right? Or you could not be a victim, think about things that you're grateful for, and then you're in a whole nother reality. It's just as easy as that. That's why they say it's easy. My teachings are easy. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah. Choose gratitude. I was going to save that for the very end, but I'll say it now because I was thinking about it in the shower too. I was like, you know, what what is, like, I don't know, I was just like, what is the point? Like, what can we do? We can choose. You can choose to be in sorrow and sadness and, despair, or you can choose to be grateful. And both of those will take you in a different direction.
and it's funny because we'll hear from people, and this is even recently happening. Could it be where people will be going through a terrible set of circumstances, and it's really bad, and they're like,
I
well,
was thinking about this.
right?
Go.
How the hell can I? And I get it, man. Shit happens. Like I've known people that died. I've had people die, within close proximity of another person I know dying. Like terrible things that happen. And what I can say to that is, yeah, maybe you can't find a way to laugh and be happy and have joy, but that's not what it's about. Really, I think the secret key is to just realize that it's not happening to you. There's things that are happening in this realm, in your purview, but they're not happening to you. You're a part of all this that's unfolding. So nobody
You
specifically is trying to ruin your life by killing your relatives or killing your whatever, anything that's terrible. It's just a function of the way it is. And that's really what we're talking about. If you could get to the mindset to
It's the
realize,
role you came to play. Go
yes, you
ahead.
could still have compassion and sorrow and be sad and cry and all these things, and even be down and depressed. All these things are normal. But what we're talking about is if you realize that it's not just happening to you, it's what's supposed to happen. It's written, it's natural, it was always going to happen. You had no control, kind of thing, and you have no control, and it's about letting go of the control. Really, that's what we're talking about. We're not, I mean, I might laugh at everything and be silly, but it's because I'm a comedian and I went through my, we all go through our certain set of circumstances as we grow up and have our own trauma to act the way we do. So I'm not saying everybody should just laugh at everything and be a comedian, but at the end of the day, all I'm really saying is just have that recognition that it's not happening to you. It's just happening.
So I had a thought as well along the same lines as you did about like there are people in this world because will be like, oh, how dare you not regard people in this world who have no food, no clothing, no roof over their heads or XYZ, right? And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be to not think of those people. I was thinking of those kinds of circumstances, but to me, what stands out is there is always something to be grateful for. There's always the beautiful things of this world are free, right? The sun, and even if there is no sun, if the clouds are covering the sun, be thankful for the shade, for the clouds, you know, nature, the trees, the animals. There's always something that you can be grateful for. And there are people in this world whom other people have met in isolated little communities, and they're allegedly poor, and maybe they don't have good clothes, maybe they don't have clothes, maybe they're freaking walking around with a loincloth around there. Who cares? But you know what? Some of those people are super happy and they're super content because why? They know they have gratitude in their daily lives, clearly, or else they wouldn't be happy people. So it really is perspective. It really is your view. And if you can be content, if you can be grateful, then you too can find joy. Even in the midst of pain and sadness and sorrow. I mean, I've been through things too. So I'm not saying, you know, that, oh, I'm just living this wonderful, like, carefree life. I've also been through a lot of things myself.
Exactly. And we've talked about that before. So check out our old episodes. But you're right. And I think the distinction is really, and I was going to say this before when you were talking about the left and the right, and this pendulum shift. And I was going to be like, it's all just materialism. And either side, left or right, it's all
Yeah.
materialism. You think
Mhm.
you have this unique view and whatever it is. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody or whatever, but I'm sure I have my own unique views that I think are facts that are probably retarded to or whatever. Oops. But yeah, it really just all is materialism. Because if you were looking at it from more of a spiritual lens, then you would see that it really doesn't matter. It's like you said, a polarization. It's a scale, two sides of the opposite. Uh, yeah, you guys get it. All right. Should we get back into?
Sure.
Okay, because if not, I'm gonna keep going. This is great. That's why we're over Sharon. Oh yeah. Okay, I did it right. Sorry.
I don't know where you
Okay.
left off.
I think you were reading Dwight Goddard, right?
No way. I think
We're
you
doing.
just were reading Stephen Mitchell
Yeah,
or
I just did.
70.
Well, I did the read through of Stephen Mitchell.
Oh, thank you.
We
Thank
just
you.
got off on a tangent. We weren't breaking.
Thank you for, oh my God. How did we do that?
I
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, that's why it's called the Over Sharon show. We were over Sharon.
Oh my gosh. We already elaborated and broke shit down. Sorry. Dwight Goddard. Oh, wait, I was reading. I did read this. Did I read this or not?
Um,
Oh my God. Oh,
well, you
whatever.
could
I'm
just
gonna
go
read it
through and read
again.
it
Even
again.
if I did read it, I'm sorry, guys. All right, Dwight Goddard. The difficulty of understanding. I remember reading that, I think. My words are very easy to understand and very easy to put into practice. Yet in all the world, no one appears to understand them or to practice.
Yeah, that's
I
what it
did
was.
read
We
this. That's
started
where
laughing. Yeah.
because of Jesus. Sorry, guys. Words have an ancestor,
Hmm.
a preceding idea. Deeds have a master, a preceding purpose. And just as these are often not understood, so I am not understood. They who understand me are very few, and on that account I am worthy of honor. The wise man wears wool rather than silk
Yeah.
and keeps his gems out of sight. That's you, buddy, with your woolly sweaters and shoes. All your shoes and all your glasses.
I keep my silk hidden. I wear silk underwear. No, I'm just kidding.
And your sheets? And your
Yeah.
bed sheets? Just kidding.
All right. Stan Rosenthal from 1984, Hidden Identity. Though the words of the sage are simple and his actions easily performed, they are few among many who can speak or act as a sage. For the ordinary man, it is difficult to know the way of a sage, perhaps because his words are from the distant past and his actions naturally disposed. Those who know the way of the sage are few and far between, but those who treat him with honesty will be honored by him and the Tao. He knows he makes no fine display and wears rough clothes, no finery, not finery. It is not in his expectancy of men that they should understand his ways, for he carries his jade within his heart. Hey, that's where my silk is. It's in my heart, everybody.
Ooh,
Next to
I
my
like it.
jade.
Aleister Crowley, 1918, The Difficulty of a Right Apprehension. My words are easy to understand and to perform, but is there anyone in the world who can understand them and perform them? I like how he puts a question there. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Is there?
My words derive from a creative and universal principle in accord with the one law, the
Ooh,
law of one. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Men, not knowing these, understand me not. Few are they who that understand me. Therefore, am I the more to be valued. The wise man weareth sackcloth, but guardeth his jewel in his bosom. There you go.
His bosom buddy. Yeah, it's Stan Rosenthal when he really got a little crazy there. Was he high maybe when he did that one? Oh, we'll go back to that one. Like, he took some mushrooms. He's usually a little more
Yeah, he's very verbose,
he
usually.
is it seems though it was a little more I don't know,
Out
esoteric.
there?
Yeah. For
Well, we'll
him.
check it out.
All right, so oops, I gotta try to I can't move it. There we go. Okay, Stephen Mitchell from 1988. My teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Yet your intellect will never grasp them, and if you try to practice them, you'll fail. So I like how he uses the word intellect because we can also replace that with like ego, right? Your ego, your thinking brain. Because his teachings, if you go back all those other 69 verses, it's all paradoxical stuff. It doesn't make any sense to the physical, to the ego, to like the me, and to try to protect myself and all that stuff.
Mm.
So of course it's going to be hard to practice because it's going to be about going against your desires, right?
Mm.
And going against what you really want to do for what's better, what's best for you. Going against it involves, like Spoons said before in our show, when you want to be the author, right? You feel like you're that author and you know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you want to go to the store and you want to come back, and you definitely don't want your battery to die, and you don't want to sit in a car wash for 4 or 5 hours, like all these. But nope. uh you just have to kind of deal with what you're given. So but he keeps it very simple here. I like it. Simplicity. He's showing us one of his treasures, right? With this
Yeah,
verse. It's
so
so short.
the teachings are easy to understand, put in practice spiritually, right? Your intellect is the one that wants to go into materiality. So that's
Mm.
why it won't grasp them.
Yeah. And if you think, yeah, understand exactly the understand part. And also, it's probably easy to understand from somebody who's not really a spiritual person, because you could just be like, hey, listen, if you do good things and try to be a good person, then good things will probably happen to you. And they could say, oh yeah, I could see that. But then when they go to practice it, they're like, fuck that, I want that, that last piece of cheesecake, like, or whatever it is, it's mine. So I think that's kind of what he's pointing at too, because it's simplicity. It's very easy to understand. It's just the practice part. It's like words, right? It's so easy to say things, but then when it comes to the action, it's harder to do. Your intellect will never grasp them, and if you try to practice them, you'll fail. Okay, I said that there. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning?
Older than the realm.
So that to me,
They're timeless.
what's the realm? What's the world? It's physical. What's older than the world? The spiritual. So he's saying these are spiritual teachings, like you said. You nailed it. And he's given a little hint too, with a little,
Mm-hmm.
you have to kind of
Yeah,
figure it
because the
out, right?
world is a
A vampire? No, I'm sorry.
concept.
The world is a vampire.
I don't know those lyrics.
You don't know that song?
No.
Set to drain. That's Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, I never liked Smashing
Despite
Pumpkins.
all my rage,
I
I'm still, yeah.
Such an annoying song.
I know. I like the beginning though. It's so true. He's like, the world is a vampire
Oh.
set to drain. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of you could look at it as being a victim too. But anyway, I'm not a big. It's not like I'm a fan or anything. I could take it or leave it. There are no Johnny Cash. Am I right, everybody?
I never really got into Johnny Cash stuff.
Oh, okay. There are no
That's okay.
there are no Backstreet Boys, right? No.
Oh, not even that either, really.
I know. All right. Yeah, so that's how I would say, how can you grasp their meaning? Because you can't grasp it in a physical way. You can't. You can only get a knowing after doing, kind of thing, right? It's a
experience,
yeah.
inner knowing.
This last part, very simplistic. It's like a poet. It's like poetry. If you want to know me, look inside your heart. He's saying so many things here with this statement. It's like,
Yeah.
you could look at it as him saying, we're all basically the same inside. We all have the same kind of like desires and fears and like needs, I guess, maybe different wants, but we all have the same kind of basic needs. So look inside my heart. And then also, it's kind of if you want to know me or anything or this realm or the master or whatever, it's just look inside. All the answers are within.
You are another me.
You are another me. Instagram shout out.
And the way I see that if you want to know me, look inside your heart. If it makes me think of that Bible verse that we always quote, and I think it's Romans 2:15, about, it's all there. Like, it's written in your heart what is, what is good and bad and what is right and wrong, basically. It's all there in your heart. It's all within you. And then Jesus saying the kingdom of heaven is within you. What does that mean? What does that mean?
But I thought heaven was up there.
Right.
Listen, guys, join our pyramid scheme. Freshly dusted. Shout out to my wife, lovely wife Elizabeth. It's freshly dusted pyramid scheme. Could join our oversharamid pyramid scheme.
Sharamid.
Our oversharamid.
Oh God. Shall I read Dwight Goddard?
Yeah, here you go.
All right, Dwight Goddard, The Difficulty of Understanding. My words are very easy to understand and very easy to put into practice. Wait, what, did I read this already?
Well, we read through it, but you're breaking it down.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're doing, sorry. I felt like I was like, this is deja freaking vu. What the hell?
No, I would imagine that this is what it's like to podcast with me, so it's not bothering me at all. Sometimes
Oh my.
I get a little flighty, so I get it's not a big.
No, I'm like, what is going on here? I feel like I just read this 800 times. All right.
Yeah, because it's like the third time we're reading it, kind of. All right,
My
that's
words are very easy to understand and very easy to put into practice, yet in all the world, no one appears to understand them or to practice them. I mean, I think that's a little exaggerated, right? Because, we have Jesus and, Buddha and stuff.
but
But
maybe currently he means, like right now.
yeah, I don't think there's an avatar in the world right now. So
What about Donald J. Trump? Oh,
we're in
so
between avatars.
yeah. Well, this
The
is the
Kali
thing.
Yuga.
This is the thing, King. We are all the Avatar right now, man. We are it. Could it be? We're all aspects
I
of the
am
Avatar
that
because
I am.
if you think about it, if it's like the law of one and we're this, consciousness that's all going through, just trying to raise, maybe when we're at certain points, we need avatars, but then before we ascend, maybe we all become the Avatar.
Who
I'm not
knows?
saying
We
we're all going
don't
to be
know.
like become Jesus or who
We
knows,
like
but
to speculate.
you
We
never
like
know.
to
Maybe that's
throw
what
out
we're on our
ideas.
path to do is to become the Avatar. Or an aspect of it at least, who knows.
Indeed, could it be?
No claims here, everybody. Don't worship
No
us.
claims.
Remember, don't put us on the pedestal.
Yeah. We're not basically, we're always making conjectures and philosophizing.
Except when we say that this is the best darn show on the internet. That's a hard claim.
That's a hard
That's a
truth right
truth.
there.
What is truth? Well, we can point to one. All right.
All
So
right.
yeah, I love that. No one appears to understand them or practice them. It's fucking great.
I
Because he
know.
says appears. So, he's not making a claim really. He just says no one appears and it
Appears to.
seems, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Yeah.
Sarah G says best ego in the universe.
And
Why, thank you.
yeah, thank you. I know. I know. You don't have to tell me. What are you trying to say? No. So also if you think about this appears word, you could also say that if people are putting it into practice, they wouldn't appear so because they just seem like a normal schmuck, like a normal everyday person because they're not out there going like, I have the answer, listen to me. No, they're just, that's another way to look at it too.
Like the guy whom you quoted today. He was like, nobody freaking knew who he was until he died. Then, posthumously, his lectures and anything that he had written down, they turned into audio, podcasts and books because he was in life, he wasn't trying to be, he wasn't trying to be something, you know? It said he didn't even want them to try to follow him. He had like very few people around him, and he would have like question answer sessions and stuff, but it wasn't like,
You mean
you
he
know,
didn't have like a million followers on X? Oh, look, I got it
no.
right. Twitter,
Yeah.
X, where the hell it is. People still say X, and I have no idea where they're
X
from.
Factor? I'm just kidding. Wasn't that a show?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a talent singing show or
No,
something like
was it? Yeah, I don't even know.
that. All right. See, we're
Next.
relevant, everybody. We talk about pop culture sometimes.
Like really, really old pop culture.
Yeah. Like, what about Gilligan's Island? Remember when Professor was all no. All right.
A 3-hour tour.
Three. Oh, what a
Hey,
great.
this will become a freaking 3-hour tour if we don't get back onto this
All
town.
right, let's do it. Where are we?
That's what I used to call church when I was growing up. I'm like, dude, are we gonna go to another freaking 3-hour tour?
And listen how great Jesus is, but they never really do what he said to do. They just are talking about how great he is and how beautiful, and Jesus is so sexy. All
Oh my god. I remember all those songs that don't sound very, they sound gross. I mean, I won't say anything.
right. Dude. Oh yeah, the Christian songs I know you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Jesus, I want him to enter me. Yeah, that
Kind
uh
of stuff.
yeah.
All right. All right. So, words have an ancestor, a preceding idea. Did I read this?
I don't
Deeds
think
have
so. We
words have
read
an
it, but we didn't break it
ancestor.
down. Yeah.
Okay. Words have an ancestor, a preceding idea. Deeds have a master, a preceding purpose. And just as these are often not understood, so I am not understood. Oh, yeah. Tons of misunderstandings going on in religiosity. So much.
I feel like this world is just a world of misunderstandings. And, I love this part. Not to cut you off, but to a preceding words have an
Oh, no,
ancestor, a
please.
preceding idea, and then deeds have a master, a preceding purpose. So you can also look at this kind of in the way that Jesus is like talking about, like, keep your thoughts clean, like be careful what you think about. And it reminds me of a little thing that, because like when we're
Mm-hmm.
watching these TV
Good
shows, my
point.
wife, my wife and I, they'll have like these sex scenes or nudity or whatever. And I just
Yeah.
look at her and she's like, oh, I love how you look at me. And I'm like, you know what? I just had to like, whatever. That's something I had to learn. But it's true because it's like, and I said, like Jesus says in the Bible, like it's better to gouge out your eyes than to
Yeah.
like look, because it starts the whole cycle. And it's you look, you get the desire and the thoughts and what's going to happen. It's like, so I found that when you just don't look, it helps
Yeah.
so much more. And then you just don't even care anymore. You're like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I understand because I've gone through that too, where like especially like the show the Toon Prophecy show is horribly bad at, man, geez, HBO.
yeah,
But
HBO is, yeah.
but yeah, I know it sounds crazy and weird, but like I don't I'm just like kind of like grossed out by it. And I'm just like, I don't I can look at it, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'm just like, so I mean, I usually look
It's
away
odd
too.
to me because you know what it is, that when I was younger, I never realized it, but now having new eyes, especially because I've been like uh reading and listening to so much Wheel of Time, because Wheel of Time handles it really well, because there are instances where like characters are married and like sleeping with each other and have desires and stuff. But the way that Robert Jordan handles that is much more like mature. They just kind of allude to it and talk about it a little bit in their thoughts, but it's not graphic and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I feel like the graphic stuff really, because it's like a trigger and people don't realize it.
It's the esoteric. I mean, sorry, exoteric. The
Yeah,
graphic is the exoteric.
yeah, and it's such a trigger too. It
Mm-hmm.
really is, like, it's you go. And then unfortunately HBO and all these whatever, where they put out shows, they're under, some people will be like, oh, they do it on purpose and stuff, and maybe they do, but I think it's because it's what sells and what they think
Oh
that
yeah.
would sell.
That's what sells, basically.
So they kind of include it. But I feel like if they didn't, there's some shows that didn't go so crazy and they did
Mm-hmm.
great too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So either way, whatever. But yeah, I didn't realize that. I think I saw like the first episode or parts of the first episode, I can't remember, of the Dune prophecy show.
I thought you said you had.
I think the first episode we watched, but it was a while ago, so now I can't really remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I mean, it's this year. It's, well, this past year, 2024.
Yeah, I mean, not a while ago, but whenever, a couple months ago, right? It was out
Okay.
then. Yeah, yeah. Maybe it was like October or something. I
Okay.
don't remember. Yeah. What day is it even?
I know.
It must be Thursday because we're live. All right. Speaking of live,
Yeah.
let's get to the back to the dial.
All right. So yeah, you were saying words have an ancestor preceding idea. So yeah, I like the guarding your thoughts, guarding your eyes and guarding your ears and all the stuff that, like you learn in like Sunday school or whatever, about keeping yourself pure in that sense. That makes sense. Words, is there another way to look at this? Words have an ancestor. So yeah, in the mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, an
Yep.
idea. Yeah. Deeds have a master, a preceding purpose. So yeah, you do your action, your deeds come from a purpose, a desire, a purpose that you want to fulfill. So that makes sense.
And you can even say that it builds on it because a word, so it starts with an idea, becomes the word, and the
Yeah.
words form a purpose with you and people, and then then you
Then
take
there's
action.
action. Yeah. And just as these are often not understood, so I am not understood. Did you talk about that?
No, I would say that people don't realize that whole chain of events. And so they'll go out in the world without knowing that. And it leads to all kinds of fun hijinks, So people don't realize that they're locked in an idea that there is like some lie in there. There's a lot of truth, but there is a lie. So there's like some cognitive dissonance, right? Dissonance.
I heard it.
And dissonance. Yeah, you heard it. It was very resonating. So anyway, and because of that, wait, I'm losing my thought with funny things. Oh yeah. Oh, so because of that, they don't realize that it's the thought that's ultimately creating the action, this false thought that they have, this, whatever it is, this belief in materialism at something. They have this core belief that's based on just materialism. And they forget that, this is all just energy.
Yeah.
So because of that, they go out and their actions are askew a certain way.
Going back to the dream, they forget that what the quote said that, right? They forget that this is all a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And they don't understand that. All right. So they who understand me are very few. And on that account, I am worthy of honor because I confuse people. No, I'm just kidding. The wise man wears wool rather than silk and keeps his gems out of sight. All right. So let's just talk about this. They who understand me are very few. And on that account, and this sounds egotistical, right?
Yeah, but
So talk about it, please.
talk about it.
Since you kind of know that a little bit more.
A worthy of honor. So he's basically, I would say, it's just not like any. It sounds like an egoic thing, but um, because the way that's simple is so misunderstood, he's worthy of honor because his words are only understood by such a few amount of people. So basically, he's spitting the truth, the hot fire, the truth as he sees it, in a way. So he's worthy of honor because of that.
Okay. I didn't know if there was any like deep esoteric anything more beyond that.
I mean, you could say that there was something else that was kind of peeking through my brainstem.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
it'll go
it'll
ahead.
come back. It does, yeah.
If it comes back. And so the wise man wears wool rather than silk and keeps his gems out of sight. And that I'm kind of not sure how that belongs with the thing above it. Not that it needs to, but I'm just trying to see if I can
Oh,
gather
because you said, yeah.
anything from that.
Well, I would say because so all right, the wise man wears wool rather than silk, gems out of sight. That's like pearls before swine, right? You don't want to cast your pearls before swine. So you could look at it in that way. What does that really mean? Jesus didn't mean you don't want to pull out your pearls in front of a bunch of pigs. He means you want to keep your esoteric deep truths and ideas to yourself and not in front of people who are going to try to like pick them apart and slander them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in that same way, he's only understood by few and he
Mm.
realizes this. So he's only sharing it with a select few
Mm.
people.
Okay. I thank you. Thank you for bringing the pearls to swine because that really helps. Sarah G says warmth and utility rather than flamboyance about the wearing wool versus silk. And very true
Oh,
indeed.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So true. It's practical.
Welcome, Amberson, who's joining us just now. No worries.
What's up, Emerson? We are working on a
One
3-hour
second.
tour now. It'll be
A
2 hours.
3-hour
We're
tour. It's
working on
not
it.
quite.
No, almost 2 hours though. All right.
Oh yeah, not quite yet, right?
Nope, not quite.
I don't even know what time. I don't even remember what time we started. Okay. Anyway, I think we're getting close to done.
I think so. All right, so you want me to
Yeah.
start breaking down?
Yeah, we'll start with the next little bit, and this is our last slide, folks.
Yeah.
Folks.
Facts. Hidden identity. Though the words of the sage are simple and his actions easily performed, I like because okay, so he puts it, of course, because it's Dan Rosenthal, much easier way to understand it. The words, so his words are simple and his actions are easily performed. So you could easily, everyone could see that, right? That he's just using few words, simple words, and he's not working real hard. Um, they are few among many who can speak or act as a sage. So he's saying, even though he's very simple and doesn't work hard, there's not many people that can do it. For
Okay,
the
he's
or
kind of saying what we just read in the previous one at the end, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that what I'm feeling?
yeah, because of the simple and easily
And the
performed.
sage, like
Yeah.
worthy of honor or whatever.
hmm So he's introducing it to the idea right away.
It feels
Uh,
like it.
there are many. So same thing, right? You say there are few among many who can speak or act as a sage because they all can't understand, right? Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For the ordinary man, it is difficult to know the way of the sage, perhaps because his words are from the distant past and his actions naturally disposed.
Mm. His words are from the distant past. Because he doesn't live in the present moment, he's regurgitating what everybody else said.
Oh, I would say, well, because this reminds me of where I'm gonna scroll up. I think that right here, like, how can you?
Or he's talking about the sage. Or is
Yeah,
he talking about the ordinary man?
no, I think he's saying that the sage has words from the past to know the way of
Oh.
the sage, perhaps because his words are from the distant past. So it reminds me, like to kind of bring it in here. My teachings are older than the world, same kind of thing, right? So I have these
Mm.
older.
Oh yeah, yes, 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 yes.
So I think in verse 69 too, it said something about this.
Okay.
Um,
Good memory. Thank you.
yeah, no worries. You're quite welcome. And same thing about words from the distant past. It's like the old way, right? Like the Tao is the old way.
Yeah.
And actions naturally disposed. He's just acting with nature. But it's
Mm-hmm.
harder. He's actually more like he's acting as if he was in a spiritual realm, not in a physical realm. He's still paying attention to his zip code, as Ram Dass would say, and keeping everything in the physical in order, but he's not putting the physical on a pendulum, right? And that's what the pentagram is when you get the 5-pointed star pointing down. Everyone's like, it's the goat, it's evil, it's Satan. Really, what it's saying is that you value all the other 4 elements over spirit, which is the top one. And then the right side up pentagram is just saying that that spirit is above all the elements, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Like it's the chief. It's part of it, but it's yeah. So anywho,
The next part.
yeah, let's do it. Naturally disposed. Okay. Those who know, so I'm going to start here. Those who know the way of the sage are few and far between. So, same kind of thing with only a few people know this. But those who treat him with honesty will be honored by him and the Tao. So maybe not everybody will understand it, know why he does it, but the people who still treat him with honesty will be honored by him in the Tao. So they'll still be like his homeboy or whatever. You'll still be cool with him and you'll be getting good karma and all that stuff. So it basically means that not everybody has to get it, right? And it's funny because we were just talking about this right hand and left hand path stuff, and people who are, the swing of people getting into uh, Christianity and Orthodox and stuff. And if you look at it that way, it's kind of like you could say that those are the people that don't get the full message, but still treat it with honesty, kind of thing, So it's like not everyone's going to get this stuff, and you can't explain it to everybody, but at least people that are honest with you and cool with you, you can still be friends with, and you could still hang out with and chill. Like, you don't have to, not everybody has to be an esoteric master for you to hang out with them and build community and stuff like that and have a family.
Right.
Not everyone gets this. You don't
Yes.
have to push this on your children if they're not into it, like
Yeah.
still treat them with honesty and the basic and all that stuff, but you don't have to be like, you must know what a pentagram means, like here's this tarot deck, it's not for everybody.
Mm-mm.
All right, I knew there was more to that one. He who makes no fine display and wears rough.
What? Read that again.
Oh,
Slow
he
down.
knows he makes no fine display and wears rough clothes, not finery.
Hmm.
So same kind of thing with the pearls before swine. It is not in his expectancy of men that they should understand his ways. Yeah, exactly what I said. For he carries his jade within his heart. So it's the pearls before swine thing, but
But it's
also
also
mixed.
humility.
Yeah, with the fact that, because you always hear, don't cast your pearls before swine, but it doesn't say, but that doesn't make you better than everyone else. Like that's what it also should say. Like, but still be humble. There you go. And that's
Yeah.
why
And you know what? I don't remember what the surrounding of like the
Mhm.
context of that verse is. So it could say something. I'm not sure.
It could
But
say, but it never
but
gets repeated, right?
yeah, yeah.
You only
But I
hear,
don't know, right? I'd have to go look.
yeah. It
Um,
doesn't, that part doesn't get any much play. They cut it off before. They
it's
only
like
like the good part
cast
of the
not
song.
your pearls before swine.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you better than swine. Like, you're a swine too, but you just understand it. All right.
um,
All right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we can go to the old Crowley.
He carries his jade within his heart. That's lovely. Aleister
Yeah,
Crowley.
you know what? We should have taken a
You
second.
want to
I
say
like,
what?
hang on, I'm gonna get us back to the stop sharing for 1 second. Yeah, carries his jade within his heart. I like that too, because it's kind of like a pearls before swine thing, but again, with that interpretation, there's so much left out. So this way it's more like, hey, it's a secret mystery that only you know and a select group of people. Doesn't make it better though. You're still humble because other people have their secret things that they get, like Pokemon or whatever. I'm like, I don't get that. But anyway, so they have their, am I right? No, they have their little cool things. And so we have our cool thing. And it just happens to be working on ourselves and this esoteric fun stuff. But it doesn't mean that that's your identity now. And you have to, like, you keep it in your heart.
Yeah, I like that. I don't have words for that. It's just beautiful. Carries his jade within his heart.
Yeah. Oh, I always have words now. There's that ego again. See, it's the best one.
Aleister Crowley, 1918. The difficulty of right apprehension. And apprehension is like understanding, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my words are easy to understand and to perform. But is there anyone in the world who can understand them and perform them? I love that. That
Yeah.
reminds me of what Dwight Goddard was on. He was also kind of doing the same thing. It feels a little sarcastic, you know?
Yeah, I like that too because it has the flavor of the Tao. Because I feel like a Tao master is kind of like a Zen master where they might break your balls a little bit, and give you a hard time and some sarcasm or whatever. So he's like, I am great. So because some people are going to read that and be turned off, but good, because that's where they don't need to know this info yet. They need to do some other stuff and come back to it, right?
Exactly. It's not your time, buddy.
Yes,
Whoever
yes.
you are, it's not your
It goes
time.
back to the whole thing with we were talking about with fame. People that achieve fame too soon, that aren't ready, that aren't totally
Mhm.
have control of themselves, and then they just burn out like a star. like a shooting star. I think that's the same kind of thing with spiritual truths, because you could attain some powers or cities or whatever, and you might learn, like, say you learn a lot about the psychology with the Myers-Briggs and all this stuff, and you could use it to actually manipulate people, like, so. And and not that it's wrong or whatever, we're not judging people, but you could think you're doing a good thing by doing it too. That's the other thing, it's like they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You could have all the purest of intentions and still be.
Oh.
So anyway, that's why these things are hidden with sometimes with sarcasm. And that's why sometimes I engage in distasteful humor that would be considered or whatever. It's like, yeah, good. Get turned off. All right, anyway, I'm done.
I was gonna say something where I got
Oh yeah.
distracted and I
Sorry. Oh.
forgot what. No, it's not your fault. I distracted myself. But maybe I'll remember. So, oh, it's about take it off the thing. So it's about like experiences in cities and all this stuff, right? So it just makes me think there are people maybe out there who have like had these experiences of like, oh, when I meditate, I go places and I can see XYZ, and or I've had out of body experiences. And mind you, I've been listening to the first book by Robert Monroe of the Monroe Institute. And it's about the out of body experiences that were happening to him that got him to start learning about it and understanding it kind of scientifically, right? And I really liked his approach, and like, just I'm still at the beginning kind of the book, but because he wasn't like um religious about it, he was actually like, I don't know what's happening to me when these things happen. Like, he was getting like his body was like, just he felt like it was vibrating or something, like his whole entire body, just like weird stuff that he was experiencing. Like, he would experience um almost an out of body experience, like right before he started to be able to get into the place where he could control it, right? Because at first he was kind of freaked out by it. And nobody, I mean, this was back in the 50s, maybe, I don't know,
Oh, really?
60s, 70s, I don't remember, but it was early on where people were like they didn't know what was going on, and it was like a total new thing, and people weren't talking about it, and they might think you're freaking crazy. They might send you to a hospital for saying you had an out of body experience. Um, so he
A
was kind of
mental
like,
institution?
yeah, he was kind of quiet about it and didn't talk to too many people about it, but it became like imperative for him to do something about it and talk to somebody about it. So that's what prompted the beginning of his work, which I don't really know. That's why I'm reading the book, but I'm assuming he began that Monroe Institute. And then, nowadays you see things online and YouTube of like binaural sounds that get you into that frequency where you're like kind of in that liminal state, the state between being awake and asleep or asleep and awake. And that's that state where you could astral project or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you can experience these things that are different. Anyway, that was all a side note. What I was thinking about was that, like, there are people who've experienced those kinds of things. Well, I haven't. You know what I mean? I'm one of those like people that's like, I'm totally like just that, like, I don't even know what you would call it, but just like next door neighbor person who's just like, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I've never experienced these. Like, the closest thing I ever experienced was one time I was meditating. I did feel like I was levitating and that I was controlling the levitation. I'm not saying that I did levitate. I'm just saying that in that,
Who knows?
I don't know. I have no evidence, you know. apart from the feeling that I had in the body. But it could have been an out of body experience. The more I listened to that book, I was like, what if I was just experiencing kind of leaving
Oh yeah.
the body? It wasn't necessarily that I was levitating, but maybe I was experiencing that out of body experience, right? I never had any idea what I'd experienced. So this gave me kind of some uh things to think about. But anyway, what I was going to say is that, yeah, there are people out there who are going to have all the cities and all the things, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean a single thing. You could just be Joe Blow, next door neighbor, who fucking knows nothing about all this stuff, and you could still understand these things without experiencing an out of body, or without having a city or a power or anything like that. So, people that are out there that are like, oh, I have, XYZ, I can astral project and I can do all these things. It means nothing. Everyone is just experiencing what they need to experience. And for whatever reason, the thing is, the way that was described in that book, I think it's called Journeys Out of the Body or something like that by Robert Monroe. The thing that was interesting is that most of these are like a once in a lifetime experience that it happens to someone and then never happens again.
Oh.
Yeah. And like, I don't know about things like, I don't know what like Joe said he experienced, like when he experienced that bliss and being like he was riding his bicycle and he
Yeah.
just felt like he expanded into like everything and he was just one with everything. I don't know if that's similar or not or what, but even that, something like that would be just a once in a lifetime thing that I don't know. He may experience it again someday. I don't know. But all I'm saying is that if you haven't, don't feel like you're a loser or like, oh, God doesn't love me because I've never experienced that. No, I don't think that we're all meant to. I think maybe some people are led to so that they look for truth, so that they look for something, right? If that
Yeah.
was meant to happen to them, it was for them to like go look for something because maybe at that time they didn't know or didn't understand or whatever. But for whatever reason, that. So, anyway, sorry, I just went on a huge tangent and I just wanted to tell people like, don't feel bad if you don't, if you're just Joe Blow next door and you haven't had these like spiritual experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jack Cornfield would talk about that a lot. I would
I
listen to a
heard
lot of
that
his
name
audiobooks.
before.
Yeah, he's a guy who was like around Ram Dass and stuff. He's one of those.
Yeah, I
And
feel like I've heard his name. Go ahead.
he's a speaker also. I think he's a whatever Buddhist and stuff. But he would talk about that too, where most people aren't going to have an experience like that. That experience is what cracks the shell. And sometimes people get stuck on the experience and they want to experience it over and over
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
you talked about Joe's experience. I think that was that kind of experience where, and maybe you can have a meditation experience again and get to that level. But I think if you're reaching for any kind of goal like that, like you were saying, the power, that's not really what it's about because it's another trap, really. It could be. That's what a lot of the new
Yeah.
age, they'll have you meditate all day until you're just in bliss and
Yeah.
just not doing anything. So, but sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's their path.
yeah,
That's the role they're playing this lifetime.
yep.
So
Exactly. Everyone different, all kinds of roles. You got sesame, you got poppy seed, Portuguese rolls. Am I right, everybody? All kinds of rolls.
You got ciabatta bread.
You got ciabatta bread. You got your bagels, a croissant, even. All right. I'm
Oh.
getting hungry now. Yeah.
Oh, stop. I'm getting hungry too.
All right. Well, we're almost done anyway. So,
Oh, no worries. All
uh,
right. So where was I?
who can
Did I
understand
read
and
this
perform
at
them?
all?
I think it's just the first part that I
Mm.
think you read.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. I keep
No,
doing
don't
this.
listen. It's
Today
the
I'm like, I don't know where I'm at today. I'm
It's the
like in the
oversharing
clouds.
show. We're just over 2 hours, so this is typical for us. We're running even behind, so we're not behind, but like we've had
No.
way longer episodes. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
good. We have 8 people in here, 40
Yay.
views. Wow, and so the average view duration is a little lower than normal. It's 18 minutes, which isn't bad, but normally it's like 40 minutes. But we have 40 views, so more people clicked in and got to hear our voices. So
Dissident Jones says next door Buddha. That's right.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can be a next door Buddha and you don't have to have no kind of astral projection experiences.
Yeah, it's like you could have all these astral projection experiences,
You could
and
have them,
I
and
did
that's
want,
cool.
this
Good
is
for
great. I
you.
wanted to, yeah, and I wanted to speak on this too, what you said, because from my limited perceptive, what I think it is because we are all energy, right? If you just look at this logically, and I haven't really had to, like Sharon, I haven't either had any of these experiences, just like on psychedelics, allegedly, or
Right.
through
Right.
meditating
I
sometimes.
forgot about that. Yes, that too. Psychedelics.
Yes, or meditating sometimes. I've had like little experiences, but nothing like people talk about on podcasts. And it's cool. People are like, whoa. So, but just dream stuff, I mean, I've been able to lucid dream when I was younger. I used to lucid dream a lot. And then in between like awakened dream, I've had some kind of like experiences that I guess maybe could be called out of body, but nothing like I said, like you read about. But what I think it is really is because we're all just energy, like we always talk about, that we're a consciousness right now where we have this limited consciousness, but I think we're able to, through different exercises and practices, people are able to move it and shift it to different angles. And sometimes, like the thing with Joe and other people, like a Satori experience people talked about, you could shift it to be everything. And then sometimes, like when people have a near death experience and they almost die, because there's been documented cases. I mean, who knows what a documented facts? These are the facts, but people who have died and like hovered above the scene and then were brought back, but then they remembered like what was written on a notepad and stuff
Or
like
what
that.
people were saying in the other room, or
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. So you have these experiences. And what I think happens is your consciousness is able to detach from just being centered in your body, and it just resides, other places. And it's probably more like a dream because you're not viewing through your physical, whatever that means, eyes and your
Mhm.
senses, it's just more like you're, I don't know, in the area or whatever. But I feel like that's kind of, how it happens. But no, it's fine. I'm glad you brought that whole thing up and overshared. I'm glad you were oversharing because it was very I don't know, necessary. There we go. Is a good word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes when I start using too many words, I start losing my. You get it. You guys seen the show before, All right, that's why you love me. I love this. My words derive. Oh, did we read that? You
I
read
don't
it,
think
right?
I read it. I'll read it.
Okay, go
My
ahead.
words derive from a creative and universal principle in accordance with the one law. What is that one law, Brandon?
I mean, some have called it natural law. you know, the
Mark
Tao,
Passio, PA.
the trash. They're all trash. It's so I
What
love Mark
was
Passio, and I
it?
love when he yells at his audience because it's
Fake
true.
ass
Do it.
Christians.
Do something. You gotta fucking do something. New age bullshit. It's so true though. But I don't mean I mean, I love when he freaks out on his audience or other people, and he's like, "You gotta fucking take action." It's like, get off the fucking couch. But yeah,
Wands,
and
fire,
there's a
action.
lot of what's that?
I said wands, fire, action.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, the whole natural law thing, bringing it back to that, like the Tao, I guess you could say, right? Even because we're breaking down the Tao, so I think that's kind of what he's referring to. But I like how he says derive. That's a good word there because it's like resonating.
Equations.
It's where it comes from. Yeah.
Weren't we talking about equations?
Or maybe.
Not this episode. Was it last episode?
I think
Or
so.
did I make that up?
No, that does sound really familiar. It'll come
A
back to me.
challenge, an equation. It was from a
Yes.
quote, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
it was from the quote, the
it was from
challenge.
the
Yes.
yeah. So
Where people don't look at world.
and
Yeah.
then when you said derive, that made me think of,
Oh,
deriving mathematical principles or equations or whatever, right?
Yeah, and to think about sacred geometry, that's probably why he used that word derive.
Mm.
Because if you think about this is all just the universal dance, right? And it's all numbers and equations or whatever it is at the end of the day. We're in the matrix, it's that you're kind of just letting your actions derive naturally. And
You know,
it's like
just
that.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say it's like going with the flow when things get presented to you, even if it seems like it's something you might not want to do. It's like, well, the universe is putting this in my path, so who am I to say no? I've been doing that a lot lately,
Yeah.
thinking about things like that.
Yeah. You can't stop what's meant to come for you, and you can't prevent it either. Or like, sorry, you can't stop it, and you can't reach for something that's not meant for you either. So just let it happen, right? It's simple. My words are simple. Just kidding.
And
Um, yeah.
I was gonna say it all lines up too, because your expectations, when you keep your actions simple, your expectations are much lower. And it's a good way to start off too when you're building up self-confidence and you're trying to do that self-work and stuff. You keep it simple and you start small and you have these little victories and you build it up slowly. It's better because yeah, you could shoot for the moon and become famous and stuff, but like we just said a few minutes ago, rewind this, then the ego starts to kick in and you have these powers and all this stuff happens, right? So sometimes it's better to take your time and stumble a little bit and just do it the right way.
Indeed. I had a thought pass by and then I forgot it. So we'll just move on.
Yes, indeedy.
All right. So men not knowing these, and I believe he's talking about words. Understand me not. Few are they who understand me. Therefore am I the more to be valued. And I believe, was it Dwight Goddard said something like that too, right?
Yeah, yep. Here, I could go up.
Yeah, worthy of honor.
Worthy of honor, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how they're both from the same era and they're both writing kind of the same kind of thing. Because the other two, I don't think, said something like that necessarily. We
Yeah.
will be honored by him and the Tao. That's what Stan Rosenthal said. But this sounds like I said, this sounds more egoic, right? The Aleister Crowley version and the
Yeah, I
Dwight
am
Goddard
honored. I
version.
deserve
Yeah,
honor. Yeah.
yeah. Well, who
Or
is
value.
I, right? And if you look into all these um Advaita, all these like concepts of Eastern principles and philosophy, um, there is no there is no unique individual. We're all part of the self. We're all part of God. So who is I?
It's the capital I,
It's
maybe perhaps like not the lowercase ego I, the capital I of, yeah, of
could it
God.
be? I'm just surmising here.
Could be. This is Aleister Crowley, everybody, so I would expect no less. But who
Yeah.
knows? We're not experts. We're just oversharing.
Yeah. I like it. The wise man wears sackcloth, and that reminds me of in the Bible, was it Elijah or one of the prophets in the desert, who was like, I'm proclaiming the way before the Lord. Was it John the Baptist? I think he wore stuff like that. That was very humble, right? And he just like hung out in the outdoors and ate honey and hung out with the bees or something. I don't remember.
Am I John the Baptist? This sounds great. Where do
Yeah.
I sign up?
Yeah.
Do I have to put my resume in somewhere to be? My middle name is John. I could be Brandon John the Baptist. It's
Oh,
Jon too. Very unique. Brandon John the Baptist. I'll just drown people until they fucking have a near-death experience and figure it out. And if they
oh
don't,
my God.
I'll be the drowning master. Every time they come back for answers, I'll be like, "Here's the answer," and I'll just fucking drown them. It's the only answer I got for you, buddy.
my God. Mouth to mouth, anyone?
Not my mouth. You gotta sign a waiver.
If they drown.
Yeah, So
My
yeah.
God. Sorry, I didn't finish that last line, but the wise man weareth sackcloth, but guardeth his jewel in his bosom. That's like the jade within his heart.
And the sackcloth thing too, I wanted to say really quick before we get into the jade. It's like black as sackcloth also is in the Bible too. I can't remember. It's some Old Testament stuff
Say
though.
that again.
They make a analogy and they say, or a comparison, and they'll say it's black as sackcloth, like something was like the night. I think maybe it's in Revelation. I don't know,
Oh,
but I
um,
remember because I used it in school when I was going to the born again Christian church. I was going to a Catholic school at the time, so we had something, and it was just like a normal class, and I was like as black as sackcloth, and the teacher was like, "Whoa."
wait, okay. Sorry, I'm just looking really quick. So Isaiah 50 verse 3 says, I clothe the heavens with darkness and make sackcloth its covering. Is that
Yeah,
related?
yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Or
Oh,
that
that's
is
some
that
like
the one?
Yeah, that's some like, and it's windy as hell out here right now. That's some
It's a little windy here too.
and
It's funny
dark.
you say.
It's for 3 days. It's been very windy, like gusts. Well, not very, but for around here, gusts of like 40 to 50. It gets windier, but just for 3 days straight, it's crazy for that to happen here. It's like we don't live in Oklahoma. Like,
So in the Bible, I think when you wore sackcloth, you were it's like you were mourning, but you were in some cases you were like mourning your own sins, like you were repenting for like being a sinner or whatever. Um so people would it's
uh,
like in Job 42:6 it says, therefore I retract and I repent in dust and ashes. But I think they would sometimes also wear sackcloth at that time.
oh, by the
Yeah.
way, this is episode 138. That's a Phoenix number. I'm so glad I remembered to say that. This is episode 138. It's a Phoenix number. Remember that. Black as sackcloth, I will make the night. That's what it reminds me of. It's a phoenix. It's an object in the sky.
Oh, that's right. And I live in Phoenix, everybody. Wow.
When I was making the artwork earlier, I'm like 138. I was like, I hope I remember to say it, and I did.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's funny. Gosh, I thought it was like I thought Elijah wore, maybe not. Maybe it was just John the Baptist who wore. No, that's not what he wore actually. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
Oh, so hang on. Let me cancel my order on Amazon for a black robe. Hang on a second.
Sackcloth.
I just return order. All right, they didn't send it. I'm good. Damn
Sack races. Remember the potato sack races?
it. Yeah.
That's basically sackcloth, right?
I don't know. Is it? That's burlap, right? Is that what you're talking about?
I I don't know. I would think that's kind of like sackcloth. I don't know.
Oh,
Okay,
I only
John the
know sackcloth
Baptist.
from the Bible, so
Okay. John the Baptist wore a garment of camel's hair.
oh, all right, hang on. Amazon, Alexa, camel hair, giant camel hair robe. I don't, I'm Brand John the Baptist. We're back. I could put my order back in
We're
for the business
back.
cards. I was going to cancel a business card order, but it's back. All right.
Hmm.
Uh, oh, so we're all
So,
done then. Sweet with that verse. So yeah,
yeah.
I like this verse. Very simple, eloquent, but it kind of reminds me. It's like a good a good later verse because it's just repeating a lot of these ideas from the previous verses, and it's also building upon them a lot. Like it's just kind of taken for granted that you understand what they talked about in their earlier verses. So it's saving some of this knowledge, repeating it, simplifying it, but it's for somebody who has gone through 70 of the verses now and is kind of ready for this message. It's kind of how I feel. So I'm excited to get into the other later verses, because I think now with the 7 in front of them, seven's a really magical holy number. I feel like these verses are really going to start to speak.
Yeah. So
So
10 more to go, right?
10 more. Yep. Or wait, 11.
No, 11 more.
Yeah, because there's
11.
Oh, the 2 1s. Magical.
So
Well, let's see. Is there anything going on in the chat? Still 8 people there.
yeah. Thanks for staying, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Okay, class, who remembered to bring their burlap bags? Exactly. Put that in your burlap sack and smoke it.
He asked if there's a lot of spiritual people in Phoenix. I don't know. Not sure.
I would say it's probably
It's a
like
big
any
city.
city, right? Is it, you feel like, well, what's Arizona been like now? Because apparently Arizona is very excited about what happened in November, and there's a lot of promises going on now. Like, we're gonna fucking raise Arizona up. I'm like, should I move to Arizona? Shit, because I feel like we're gonna need people that look like me.
Joe wanted to move out here when he came out here.
We're gonna need people that look like me with the message that I have, though. It's like, no, but don't
Brandon
listen.
John the Baptist.
I look like I died for his sins, but I'm Brandon John the Baptist. Look at my camel robe. I got it on Amazon. Watch my show. You could watch me order it. All right.
Oh my Lord.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but I feel
Arizona
like
has a
it's
lot of
good things
red.
to come. But I don't remember what we were talking about. No, yeah, Arizona is beautiful. A friend of mine is there right now for something for work, and I was like, dude, go to Sedona if you can. I'm like,
All that area up there. It's really
yeah.
pretty.
All right. Arizona has a lot of red earth, and places of red earth are always sacred. Yes. I have a piece of red stone from Arizona, allegedly, that I took all the way back. But see, I carried it with me the whole way, so I can do that. Well, in a car, but
Let's
I didn't
see it.
fly it. I
You
didn't
don't
do the
have it
cheap
in
way.
front of you?
It's not here actually. It's in the kitchen. I keep it
Okay.
next to because it's like a lava rock. I have it next to the stove because I have some crystals there, but I have that one in the way so it could absorb the heat if I'm cooking things. It's like the first one.
I have a copper one that got in
Oh, I have
cottonwood.
plenty of stones, just not the one I was talking about. Let me see if. Oh, look at this one's really cool. I just we're doing a little show and tell here. Let me just move the chat. So yeah, it's smoky
quartz.
Yeah.
And this is Brandon Septarian. You gave this to Cody.
Septarian.
And this
Yeah.
This is found in Jerome in Cottonwood area, where the guy who not invented, what's the word I'm looking for? The one who like discovered this stone.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Yeah, he has a store. I think he has a store in Jerome.
Oh, that's cool. That's crazy. Yeah. How far is that? Is that where you is that
Jerome is
Sedona?
It's like southwest of Sedona.
I think there might be. Oh, and there's one more really beautiful one. This Elizabeth got me this one as a gift last year. It's
oh, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's amethyst. Here you go. It's kind of hard to because the lighting's wrong, but you could see it's very clear. It's really nice, like gem quality, everybody. But it's a nice little point.
I have an onyx egg.
Oh yeah. Show and tell. What is else? Oh, yeah. This is the one that Nick got me.
Oh, pretty.
It looks like a dragon eye. It's so cool, it's right? Look at it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I keep that here. Yeah, well, I keep some certain ones here when I'm doing art and podcasting. I think I have more, but there's some. All right. Then there's. I think I've
Septarian's is a made of 3 stones. One of them being citrine. I don't remember the other 2, or maybe it's like clay and something else. Because it looks like clay. It looks like dirt. Oh, and there's your
Yeah,
little.
it's small though. Look, it's not even that big. I just had it up
Oh,
to the. It
yeah.
looks like it's cool though, right? It's really
Mm-hmm.
this is smoky also. I like smoky.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we get really good deals. I had that one for a while though. The place around here. Oh,
Sweet.
we went there and they had Moldavite, which Moldavite there's like a limited amount. It's supposed to have
Mm.
come from an asteroid or something. So the price is really going up, and somebody had it. The store we go to, somebody else had it there, like selling on consignment, and she got it in the 80s, and she was like selling it at the same price. So
Wow.
crazy. I don't have that with me now, but yeah, it was nuts. I thought it was going to be like four times the amount it was. I just looked to see the price. I didn't get it. Elizabeth's getting it, but it was like I was like, oh yeah, that's an investment because you could probably turn around and sell it for four times right now. It's crazy. We've seen them at shows like Moldavite. You have to make sure it's real, everybody. So if you're gonna buy a Moldavite, make sure it's real. But if you have any, and it's supposed to be very cleansing stone and very powerful. So who knows? It's really cool though. Really, it reminds me more of sea glass than
Mm.
of an actual stone. But this one that we saw was like faceted and stuff. It's really nice. And it's on a sacred geometry setting thing, whatever. Anyway. So thank you guys for checking out our show and our show and tell and hanging around all the way until the end. You guys are the best.
Darn
Darn. Oh,
chat
what's up, Cody? I didn't say hi to Cody.
on
I said hi to
the
my
interwebs.
best darn chat on the internet. Make sure you go to morelawsmoreproblems.com to support us. Click on the Over Sharon tab. There's plenty of ways to support us monetarily. And we always tell you the best way to support us is to be here every Thursday when we premiere or are live as we are now and hang out in the chat and be part of the coolest chat, the most exquisite chat on the internet. It's like top shelf chat. Let me tell you, this chat in here is like people would pay so much at a chat bar for our chat. It's on the highest shelf in the chat bar.
Mm.
It's way up there in the crystal bottle. So thank you guys for being a part of that. And what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
That once you start over Sharon,
Then you totally stop being a Karen.
that's right.
And remember, everybody, we're not trying to tell you how to live.
We're just trying to tell you how to choose gratitude.
That's right. Gratitude is the attitude. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. Stay warm out there if you're
Ciao.
in the Northeast. Bye bye. All right.